Eddie and Chuck also have to start getting ready for the NCAA tournament.
Right. Yes, they do.
And Greg Gumbel's actually sick. Ernie's going to fill in for Greg Gumbel as main host, I think, on CBS.
So Gumbel's not doing the selection show?
Well, I think he's sick.
Sick?
Well, I don't know about that.
Okay.
Well, it's got to be serious if they're already preparing this far in advance.
I mean, he's like 75 years old.
Right.
Look at this. Twitch.tv. Yeah, did you see that shot?
There was two. Oh, yeah, there was that one. There was a...
Well, there was the Kentucky-Mississippi State one.
And there was also the Colorado State-Nevada.
Oh, really?
Half-court shot.
All right, here we go. 2 seconds.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Top of the morning to you as we get over the hump together, and the trio is together once again. How the heck are you? We are Miller and Moulton. This is the Florida Sports Network, FloridaSportsNetwork.com. So do you wish I was 350 miles away, or is it okay, us being this close?
It's okay. For now.
20 minutes with me in the same room as you, and you're like, when the hell does he leave town?
A lot of energy here this morning.
That's
I will say that.
That's right. Sunshine over there. And his Pistons won their 9th game of the year, and apparently it was worthy of multiple texts.
Yeah, I'll tell you, he and his predecessor, Felipe, they get so excited when you come in. First off, they're in here. There are 2 rooms that we do the show in. There's my room and there's Trent's room.
I usually don't leave this room.
My room. Oh, okay.
Yeah, go to your room. That's usually
exactly. And I have my area. Trent has his area, and there's there's greetings and we speak, but he doesn't come over here a whole lot. This morning, Moulton's in town.
Well,
computers are turned on. He's in here chatting it up.
Well, he knows that I don't know how to turn the computer on. Never mind. I don't know the codes. And you need like CIA security clearance to get on this damn thing. So, I mean, I appreciate him coming over and, giving the passcodes and what have you.
Well, full transparency, we only got it running about 30 seconds before we went live.
True.
So
that's true. We literally got it up at about, 6:01. It started working. So, all right. Nice to be here. Good to see you.
Glad you're here, David.
Mark, you know what? You need a haircut.
Badly. Getting that tomorrow after the show. Already have the appointment at the salon, David.
At the salon. Very nice. My mom. So I was talking to her on the drive down, and she said, listen, if it makes you feel any better, I notice your haircut. Okay. You've got Mark, you've got Trent, you've got me. 3 of us notice your haircuts. I go, oh, that's good. That's good. All right,
wife didn't notice it all.
No, she's 0 for 4. She's 4 months worth she's missed. Oh, yeah. She's like 1 for 9, to be honest with you. I mean,
Do you think there's any way that she now knows that it bothers you and is specifically not telling you that you've got a haircut?
Well, she's only known it for about a decade. So, but no, my wife, she claims she still loves me. And I have to admit, I really believe she does. I think she likes me. I think she loves me. All right. I do. She's just, I could be a cardboard cutout. I really could. You get to a certain part, nearly 30 years married and what have you. It's just like, you traveling again? When are you coming back? All right, good. Love you. Be safe. That sort of deal. So I guess that's where we are. That's all. My travels are just winding up. I may be done. I may be on the road a couple days next week. And then I think that's it till football. Till Brazil. All right. I really think my first road trip could be Brazil. We're convinced we're getting that game.
It's a lot of miles.
Yes, it is.
I mean, from that standpoint, that really helps the mileage account.
It does.
What do they speak there? Portuguese? Or
Yes.
You got to get on Babbel or something and start learning Portuguese.
No, I don't. No, I don't. I'm going to try to get on Air Aikman is what I'm going to try to get on. Okay. I'm going to put me in whatever 4 or 5 star hotel they're going to jam us in. I'm going to stay in the room. I'm going to do a couple shows back to the States. All right. Do the game and get the heck out of Dodge. That's what I'm going to do. I mean, what do you think? I'm going to, grab
I
Maybe get a little culture.
Yeah, and
grab a
immerse
4Runner
yourself.
and just head into the hills.
Just immerse yourself a little bit. That's all.
Yeah, I don't,
No, I'll do some R&D, but you mean I have to communicate with people? I mean, no. Just how about if I just observe? I think it'll go better that way. Probably better for them. They don't need to, I don't need to hear them say in whatever their native language is, ugly American. I don't need to hear that.
Fair enough.
Wonder how they are at like the supermarket checkout lines in Brazil.
Oh, see,
I guarantee you there's no 10 and under. It's just one line and everybody's in it. And some guy's sitting there with 2 items going, can I get in front of you?
and when I walk in front of the old lady in Brazil and with 2 hands up, 10. Okay, I that's got to be universal language. All right, if you have 17 items in a 10 or under line, I think we can communicate. I will get my point across. I may get arrested, but everybody will know, man, that guy was really upset.
Well, David, 1-1 last night with the system.
No, the system was 1-0. We pulled a game into the system, okay, and that one we got beat at the buzzer. But the system was 1-0.
Well, we have been taking the home favorite against ranked teams as well, and it's done reasonably well.
Okay, I'll tell you what then. Then the system was 2-1. Because what's the second thing on our list? Team coming off their biggest win of the year, losing, forget covering, just losing the next day. Wake got beat at Notre Dame last night after beating Duke. I mean, so the system, you could say the system went 2-1. But okay.
And Mississippi State was up by 10 at the half.
Oh, yeah.
Had them armbarred for a while, and
Sure.
Kentucky, who can score,
Yes, they can.
started getting it going late in the second half and pulled out the victory.
They're fun. I know a lot of people don't like Calipari. A lot of people got a Kentucky thing. That's a fun team. They score points. Don't exactly always play defense either. I mean, a Kentucky game is fun.
It really is, because they can get to triple digits in 40 minutes, and
I
there aren't a
know.
lot of teams in college basketball that can pull that off.
Right. I mean, John Cal did spend a little time in the NBA. I mean, he's working this team kind of like, we just need a couple stops late, boys. That's all. Just keep doing your thing, up and down, all around. A couple stops late would be great. So quite a few buzzer beaters last night. Trent's got his work cut out for him. All right. Don't know what he can get his hands on in terms of play of the day calls. We had a trifecta on Monday?
Right. You had the pro game there with the Cavs,
Yeah.
which was
Half-court shot, leaving a little beyond. Game
Right
winner.
after a big shot on the other end.
right. I
Like
mean, what
seconds before.
what a finish in that game.
Same with Mississippi State, Kentucky. You had the deep 3 and then the Kentucky shot to win it.
And then Nevada hits a little over half-court shot to beat Colorado State last night. So 3 buzzer beaters in hoops last night.
It's a good problem to have.
Listen, he's running on adrenaline right now. All right. He stayed up to watch his Pistons, which, I mean, what a glutton for punishment he is. But then also, I think he stayed up and watched a little late college hoops and/or a little association after that because, well, I know what time he's supposed to be in here by. He was not in here by that time. I was first one here today. Okay. I'm like, ooh, somebody's dragging. He comes in bouncing though with his Dennis Rodman Pistons jersey on. I mean,
The wardrobe is not that extensive, David.
I swear it's Felipe's wardrobe all over again. I think they just exchange items. They really do. What basketball thing do you? Ooh, I don't have one of those. Can I give you one of these for that? Yeah, that'd be great. I mean, I feel like this is Pistons 87-88. Trying to figure out, did they lose to the Celtics in the conference finals or did they just beat them? I'll tell you what, I'll go 88. They just got by the Celtics. They're in the finals for the first time. That's what I feel like I'm looking across at.
And they should have won that series too. They should have won the finals. that
Wasn't
year.
even born.
He wasn't even an
born.
idea. No.
Phantom foul on Kareem.
Well, yes. I'll tell you what, though. Let's see. Bill Laimbeer guarding Kareem Abdul-Jabbar in a tight spot late.
Yeah, which way are we going
Especially
on that one?
35 years ago with the way they officiated. In Los Angeles. Yeah. But anyway, I love the fact he's still holding that grudge. You don't think that was passed down, do you?
Not at all.
No, not at all. Ohtani homered. Okay. If you're into, spring training and baseball and then that sort of thing, they're playing games in like 3 weeks. Dodgers and Padres are starting the year off in Korea, I think, on like March 22nd. I think it's 3 weeks Friday. They're playing games that count the standings. Right. It's that thing that we always love. They go out of the country. They play a couple games that count in the standings. Then they come back, and what do, Mark?
Play spring training games. As if spring training was not a cash grab at all.
Right. And, of course, the guys who played in the games that count are not going to play in the spring training games because they're like, oh, what are you kidding me?
Good news is about that Padres-Dodgers. It should be on at like 3, 4 in the morning, so we should be able to catch a couple innings of it during the show.
Oh, you and your morning sports. All right. If you won the lottery and you had just so much money that you go, I'm going to just spend some money and try to create, you would try to, I think, come up with like a morning sports service of some kind. Live sports in the morning in the States. I think the name of your network would be Before Noon. Or AM sports. Okay. Only in the AM. Games go beyond noon. I'm not interested.
You've got a dadgum good point, David. You really do. Between the British Open, we'll get Olympic stuff coming this summer that I'll be watching early.
You, I think, would make a bid on like West Coast Conference basketball, but you would say you guys got to hold off till 9 o'clock local. Okay. We're tipping at 12:01 a.m. You'd bring back Midnight Madness. All right. You know what you'd have? You'd have the rights to University of Hawaii sports. All right. You'd be all in. You'd love that.
I love every part of this. Everything you're saying, I totally agree with you on.
What conference is Hawaii going to join? The Big Ten?
Who's not joining the Big Ten? That's what I want to know.
It's the better question.
Listen, what's more complicated? All right. College realignment or the Middle East? Honestly, I think there seem to be as many moving parts these days. I don't know. A little more artillery involved in one, but it just seems as if, man, this college thing's complicated.
And messy and ugly and unseemly and everything you want to throw at it because there's nothing about it right now. Even you and I, who are all for the athletes getting paid.
Oh, this is a mess.
It's all for the worst. No one wanted it. No one wanted it this way. Nobody.
Well, I wanted the athletes to get more. I did too. It's the conference realignment. That's the stuff. I mean, college sports is all about rivalries and angst, and they've ruined that. And I don't see how you put that genie back in the bottle either. Once you take the college out of college sports, what made it charming, once you eliminate the charm, it's kind of like a relationship. Once you don't find the other person charming, it takes a lot to find them charming again. Kind of like Miller and Moulton, right? So the way he's looking at me today, kind of like, man, when does he go back to Jacksonville?
I was just trying to look and see if I still found you charming.
Based on the look on your face, you know what? You need to be gentle in the face.
Boy, you look charming, David. It just hurts to do that.
You don't lie very well. You never have.
No.
Miller and Moulton, thanks for waking up with us. Florida Sports Network.
Mark Miller for Molly Maid. Why Molly Maid, you ask? Trust. Moulton was a customer for 15 years. Affordability. Didn't I just say Moulton was a customer for 15 years? Worry-free services. Our professional house cleaners are fully insured and a 24-hour warranty. Call Molly Maids today at 239-774-5839. That's 239-774-5839 or online at mollymaid.com/FTMYERS. That's mollymaid.com/FTMYERS.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung has successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida for over 30 years. As a former prosecutor, the information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, a criminal matter, or involved in an auto accident, call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung. I'm a local attorney with local knowledge to assist you through the process. For a free consultation, call 0095. That's 239-437-0095. Offices in Fort Worth.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
If you're in love and thinking about a diamond, you'll want to hear from my friends Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
When purchasing a diamond, you deserve a relaxed, stress-free, and educational experience. You want to have a good time and feel comfortable. You want selection, quality, and value.
At the Diamond District, you'll get it all. With our team of non-commissioned diamond advisors, no one's in a rush. We care only about you and making sure your needs and wishes are fulfilled.
You'll be wowed by our selection of GIA-certified diamonds, stunning diamond bracelets, earrings, pre-owned Rolex watches, exotic ruby, sapphire, emerald, and tanzanite jewelry. There's something for everyone at the Diamond District, and all at the lowest prices anywhere.
Jason and I love what we do and are in the store nearly every day. We look forward to shaking your hand and welcoming you to our Diamond District family.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Desperately need that game.
North Florida going to win by 3.5 tonight?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, North Florida played their worst game of the year Friday. Scored 50 points.
That's against JU?
When they hadn't scored less than 71 in a conference game. Yeah, I'd lay that all day. Thank you, Feeney, for the update. Arch, we know they were not a home dog. That's why we kept saying it doesn't perfectly fit the system. We said that yesterday. In fact, the line went from 3.5 to 4.5 in some places by tip. All the money was coming in on Mississippi State last night.
But we were confident.
A&M is laying 5.5 at home against South Carolina.
And that's a lot. I do like the Ole Miss play tonight. It's an absolute must for Ole Miss.
Who they play?
I don't care.
Alabama.
It's a system play.
Ooh.
It's a system play.
Doesn't matter if you like it.
Well, what's the spread? Like 2.5?
6.5.
Virginia.
6.5.
Boston College is favored at home against Virginia.
That's because Virginia scored like 12 points last week in a game. What was it, 41 or something?
Yes.
It, like, seriously, they were in the teens at the half.
Yeah, they are so bad to watch.
So there are two plays that don't fit the criteria that have the ranked team on the road, but the home team's favored.
Like last night, Kentucky, Mississippi State.
Let them off the hook.
Thank you, Guillermo. Yeah, I'm up for a clean scan too. Well, and the last thing you wanted to see last night in our system game was Utah State, Fresno State go overtime.
Right. I just laugh. It's the first thing I do when I get up. I'm checking scores of college basketball games that I normally would never ever care about.
You mean you haven't cared about Utah State, Fresno State before? They're almost on Miller's network. They're almost on the AM Sports Network.
First thing I do is open Hard Rock, and in the bottom right, you can see your balance.
Yeah.
I'm like,
See, I don't
go
do,
up or
I don't do that. I look at the scores first. I don't want to look at that.
I go right to the app. I'm not patient like that.
So you look to see whether or not you've gone from like 17 to 21?
Yes. The first thing I do
what's
is
the
look
account
at
at these days? Is it over
It's
50?
at 0. I pulled out the money last night after the big win. So
The big win.
How much did you pull out?
Win.
Did you pull out 50?
$30?
35. Pulled out $35, and I'm only because I'm going on a weekend trip. So I'm done gambling for the rest of the week.
First off, how much money? You shouldn't have to go to your hip much at all this week. You kidding? You're meeting family out of town?
I know.
I mean, please, they'll gladly.
Well, plus
they'll pay for you all weekend.
I get paid tomorrow too. So I'll deposit tomorrow.
Well, there's $70-$80 right there.
Half of that will go into the account.
I keep putting my commissions on there, and he keeps not paying them. It's starting to irritate me.
Yeah. You keep sending in it. I'm waiting on $1,000. Okay. The access satellite stuff. It's the way I guess they worked it out is that Marty has to send them an invoice and then they'll pay him. And I don't think Marty's invoiced them because I keep
he never invoiced the casino for the show I did there. I mean, I will say he finally sent an invoice to the mud thing.
Mud park.
Yeah. He sent him an invoice yesterday. Okay. Because I'm constantly every other day, I'm emailing him, but he's back in the country now. So, he's hard at work. 1-2 days I'll put into the Florida Sports Network.
More like hours.
Yeah, I think yesterday though. I think we got about 3 hours of attention yesterday. I do.
We're worth that.
Not much more. So you.
Actions speak louder than words.
Yep. There's an expression: silence is golden. Not always.
Here we go.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network.
21 minutes past the hour, top of the morning to you. Happy hump day. Let's get over it together, shall we? Miller and Moulton, Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. All three of us in the same place, which only happens 1 or 2 handfuls of times a year these days. So that's nice. All right. It is good to see you. All right. Even though I spend more time with you than I do with my wife. Okay. Yet we're do it 350 miles apart. But I feel as if honestly, I talk to you more. Who in the world do I talk to more than I talk to you?
There is no one. I mean, it's impossible. And it's why I laugh all the time. I got a text. A buddy of mine up in Michigan listens to the show occasionally.
Okay.
And when he listens, he makes sure he lets me know that he's listening.
All right. That's nice.
Thanks for listening.
Which is an old joke. It goes back to the people who hate. Oh man, when we first started, not popular. Wasn't going well. We used to get some of the nastiest texts and emails. And Mark early on to David, I'll take care of this. And Mark, how would you respond to everybody?
Thanks for listening.
Yep, that was it with an exclamation point at the end.
That's all that matters.
And after I thanked him for listening, he says, do you and David go out and have beers much? I said, well, he lives in Jacksonville. I said, but no.
You said, well, I think we did in 2017. Right.
I mean, before we did the show, we would hang out a lot more, but 4.5 hours a day is, for the most part, plenty.
Right. In fact, usually by the bonus hour, we're both kind of like, man, what the heck? Hey, something I think exciting was talked about yesterday in the NFL. I might actually have to say a few kind things, although it wasn't Jera who did it. It was his son, Stephen Jones. Did you hear what he said out loud yesterday? He wants to bring back the kickoff.
Okay.
He said, it's ridiculous. It's a ceremonial play now. He said it's a waste of time. He said, either do away with it or let's bring it back. And so 78% of kicks last year were not returned. Only 22% of kickoffs were returned in any way, shape, or form last year. And so Stephen Jones said, now, we know by talking to Pat, and by the way, Pat will be on in a little more than an hour. We know from talking to Pat over the years that the NFL doesn't like to take anything from anybody else. They don't ever want to be seen as following. But Stephen Jones has got a bunch of proposals, apparently. He has talked to a bunch of special teams people, including their special teams coach is highly thought of. I think it's John Fossil, Jim Fossil's son, the late Jim Fossil. And he's got a bunch of proposals, and one of them's the XFL proposal, which I have to admit, I didn't watch but 6 XFL plays, I think, last year. But supposedly, isn't that the receiving team is all lined up at the 30 and the kickoff team is all lined up at the 35, but I don't know if the kicker gets a running start or even if they do get a running start, it doesn't matter, because if it's 6-7 yards in the end zone, okay, the team running down to tackle doesn't have a running start, so they're not nearly as far down the field. So therefore, and since they're lining up 50 yards, or what is it, 35 yards away from each other. If the one team's lined up on the 35, the other team's lined up on the other 30. So they're lined up 35 yards apart. And I guess that's how the XFL did kickoffs. And that's one of the proposals that Stephen Jones has in there. But he's serious about this. He's like, I'm putting it before, and he's on the competition committee. And he's like, we got to bring the kickoff back.
This
Terrific.
sounds like a poll question.
Well, I don't know who'd be against it.
Yeah, I don't know who would be against it. Who wants the status quo of the kick being a ceremonial play?
Yeah, you're right.
It is a colossal waste of time.
Not only that, especially to start games. The hoopla and the flyover. And, we're ready to go. They'll start from the 25.
And I think it's great that he's trying it. I don't have a lot of confidence that he'll have much success.
I do think the fact that he is on the committee and he is proposing it, that I think Rich McKay, because for whatever reason, Rich McKay has all the power. He's the head of the committee, which I have no idea why. But I mean, because everybody is sick and tired of him. So I don't know why they continue to let him be like the head honcho on the committee. I really don't. I mean, at this point in time, I mean, he's had a good run. Let's go with somebody else who actually wants to do some of the things that people want. But I wonder if also Devin Hester getting in the Hall of Fame is kind of,
people have the itch.
well, but also, isn't it a bad look for the NFL? It's like, we're going to celebrate Devin Hester and put him in the Hall of Fame for something that no one else is allowed to do anymore, essentially.
Right, like the next guy that gets into the hall for doing what Devin Hester did is going to be in like 40 years now.
Well, no one would ever get in doing what he did because no one does
You
it
can't
anymore.
do
The
it,
only
yeah.
chance would be to go back and put a Bully White Shoes Johnson or somebody that did it previously to him
Right.
to recognize other great returners. But you wonder if Hester in his speech will even bring up the fact that you're putting me in for something that you don't do with, I mean,
Well, we just had a Super Bowl without a single kickoff return. Every kick was a touchback. Now,
and they're not even close, by the way. I mean, that's, to me, you're going to have to change the rules so dramatically because these kickers, I'm guessing standing still, might be able to kick the ball through the back of the end zone.
I don't know if with like a two-step run-up, if you can kick it 75 yards, though. I really don't.
But to Mark's point, it's just sailing. Like the guy doesn't even move.
There's no doubt. I mean, they kick it farther than ever before. No question. They're better trained. The kicking is so much better than it was 30 and 40 years ago. No question. But I just found that encouraging. I'm like, wow, they want to bring the kickoff back because obviously we all know why they started legislating it out. They were worried about concussions, and they claim they're still worried about concussions. So I'm curious how Stephen Jones is going to get over that hurdle. That seems like a pretty big hurdle. It seems like a mountain, actually. You know, what is it we say when they start going in one direction, how difficult it is to get them to go back? When do they ever go back? But he really wants to bring the kickoff back. And I don't think the Players Association is going to fight him. In theory, wouldn't that, I don't know, make the game?
It creates another specialty.
Yeah.
Well, also, competition committee thing aside, is there an owner that you'd rather have spearheading the cause than Steven/Jera?
Kraft.
Kraft would be the only one.
Kraft. But you know, if we get a few here, if Kraft and or Clark Hunt, okay, if we get those three lined up on an issue, throw in a Rooney and a Mara, and then now we're talking. Now we're talking. But yeah, I mean, there's no doubt the two most influential owners are Kraft and Jera, and if Jera's kid is proposing this, then obviously his father's on board. But I found that encouraging. Like, wow, wouldn't it be nice to have kickoff returns again? I mean, what do you think?
More exciting.
Oh, there's no doubt the way it can flip a field with a return.
Plus, they're exciting.
Yes.
I mean, a big return's exciting. A hard hit to stop them on the 14-yard line's exciting.
Sometimes they muff it like
a
a punt.
fumble is exciting.
I mean, don't you feel like taking kickoff returns out of the game is kind of like putting it out of golf? It would be like the PGA Tour. Once you get inside 3 feet, just pick it up. To me, that's what eliminating the kickoff return feels like in football. That's good.
It is so exciting when
I'll take a 3-footer if you want to.
Well, I know you would. You're not on tour.
my season tickets are right behind the goalposts, and when you see the guy actually take it out, it's so exciting. It's electric.
It's electric, which is right up there with iconic.
But it's not Rocky IV.
What is?
The starting 5. That's next.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6 and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail.
Mark Miller for Molly Maid. Why Molly Maid, you ask? Trust. Moulton was a customer for 15 years. Affordability. Didn't I just say Moulton was a customer for 15 years? Worry-free services. Our professional house cleaners are fully insured and a 24-hour warranty. Call Molly Maids today at 239-774-5839. That's 239-774-5839 or online at mollymaid.com/FTMYERS. That's mollymaid.com/FTMYERS.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
Hi, I'm Jason.
And I'm Todd with the Diamond District. I believe in complete transparency. If you're shopping for diamonds in Naples, you're paying too much. If you're shopping in the Cape or Fort Myers, you also won't see the selection you deserve to have. If you're online, there's no human connection, and you won't know if your diamond is beautiful or not until it shows up in the mail.
Just because it's GIA certified doesn't mean it's brilliant. There's so much more to a diamond than its cut, color, and clarity that makes it beautiful. Visit us at the Diamond District for a non-commissioned and educational presentation and quit paying more in Naples or buying blind from the internet. The Diamond District has the rarest diamonds from 1/2 carat to 10 carats. You won't find a bigger selection or better value.
And you won't find a better buying experience. Jason and I are in the store nearly every day, and we look forward to shaking your hand and welcoming you to our Diamond District family.
At the Diamond District.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network. Ripon, Wisconsin? Do you know, is that right? R-I-P-O-N? Ripon?
I don't know.
You might just go with Wisconsin, David.
I would go with Wisconsin. Thank you, Paula. Is the Mongo? So the kickers kick from their 30. Got it. All right. So did you see the story about the swimmer, the ACC swimming championships?
Did not.
So it was guys, and some guy, I think it was from NC State, he won the championship, some race. I think it was at least a couple laps. And he wins. He hits the wall, he turns, he looks up, and his teammate in the next lane finishes second. And he looks up and he sees that he won, and he jumps up and he's going to climb over. The two teammates are going to embrace. And so he climbs over and he's like half in his lane and he's sitting on the rope. All right. And his teammates hugging him and he's celebrating. They disqualified him
For leaving his lane?
for leaving his lane while the race was still going on.
Oh, boy.
And the guy who finished second is being interviewed, and he says, I will not accept this. I will not stand on the podium. This is an absolute disgrace. He won this fair and square. He's busted his butt for years for this moment. You took his moment away from him. The kid was just crying. I mean, he won a conference championship in swimming. It's probably the highlight of his athletic career.
Oh, this was swimming.
Swimming.
Okay. What school?
I think the two swimmers were from NC State. I know it was the ACC championship, but I know the kid who finished second was from NC State. And he just flat out said, I will not accept that. He said, I will take the medal because I'm going to give it to him. Okay, he did. He said it right on ESPN. He said, I will take the medal. I'm going to give it to him. I will not stand on the podium.
That is awesome.
And he said this is a disgrace and what have you, but I don't think they reversed their decision. Yeah, Paula, that every time I get a new nodule on a lung, my guy's a little conservative. He's like, yeah, I know you're in the 6-month schedule right now, but every time I see a nodule, I'd really like to only go 3 months. I'm like, okay.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
22 minutes before the hour. Pat Kirwan 1 hour from now. Seth Everett in our 8 o'clock hour. We'll talk hockey a couple hours from now. We got a trade deadline coming up, folks. You don't need to know anything more, all right? Drafts and trade deadlines, that's what the sports world's all about. Occasionally we play some games. Otherwise, it's drafts and trade deadlines. It's all that matters. How are you going to cover that on your AM sports network there? I mean, just, nonstop talk till noon and then give it up. What channel are you going to recommend they go to?
Well, it depends on the league. For the NHL, I'd just assume they stick with us because they probably won't cover it.
No. Which is good because our guest is coming and works for the NHL Network and NHL.com. So we'll ask him point blank, hey, do you know there's a trade deadline a week from Friday?
Were you aware that there was a lockout?
Wait, what? Missed a whole year, in fact. It's like the Big Ten Network when they didn't cover what was going on during the pandemic. All right. 20 minutes before the hour. Let's do this. Time for
The Starting Five. 5 stories you need to know. It's the Starting Five on Miller and Moulton. Here's number 1.
Yesterday might as well have been media day at the Combine. Yesterday was all the GMs and coaches who decided to go. You know, half the head coaches aren't even there.
Right.
They're like, come on, it's a beauty contest, whatever. Our medical staff's there. That's all we need to know. Give me heights, weights, hand size, 40 time. That's all I really need.
And I guess the GM's responsible for the interviews.
Yeah, and with 15 minutes, I guess, is the most that you get. But all the GMs were there, half the coaches, and a lot of talking to the media. Pat Kirwan flew in the morning. He did a bunch of interviews. He'll join us an hour from now. There was some news made by some of the talkers, though. Like in Kansas City, they flat out said, yeah, our priority is Chris Jones. We're going to get him signed. This L'Jarius Sneed fella, yeah, we'll tag him if we have to. And by the way, we won't be happy about tagging him. So much so, in fact, that if we have to tag him, we're probably going to trade him. So,
they have a track record of not keeping corners there. If you look through their history, they typically don't make the decision to keep the corner. Or pay the corner, if you will.
That's basically their way of publicly putting pressure on Sneed and his agents, saying, if you want to stay in Kansas City, we need to work out a long-term deal. If you want to go elsewhere because you're unhappy with what it is we're offering, then we're going to tag you and we're going to send you elsewhere. And it may not be where you want to go either, just so you know. So that's out there. We mentioned last segment, Competition Committee member Stephen Jones proposing changes to bring the kickoff back because only 22% of kickoffs were returned last year. By the way, Bucks did say publicly that they very much want to bring back Mike Evans along with Baker Mayfield. And the Bucks, along with the Giants and other GMs, have said, this bump in the salary cap has actually maybe changed our thinking in a good way, that we can afford some of the people that we didn't think we could afford. So there. College basketball last night. Top-ranked Houston avoided the upset at home, but held off Cincinnati 67-59. Kansas did not avoid the upset at home. Their 19-game home win streak snapped by BYU. You got to hand it to them. BYU, UCF, the new teams in the Big 12 in football this year did not fare all that well. They're doing much better in basketball. I mean, UCF's got 3 wins over ranked Big 12 teams this year. BYU going into Allen Fieldhouse and beating the Jayhawks. Mark Pope, the longtime BYU head coach, said, I've never been in an atmosphere like this. He goes, this was amazing. And just think, for the Kansas people, I mean, a Tuesday night against BYU, I mean, they probably brought 70% of their A game to that one. Are you kidding? BYU, whatever. I mean, this ain't Texas.
Right. Not Kansas State. It's
right.
not. No, this is BYU.
Baylor,
this is
Oklahoma
just
State. Right.
This was supposed to be a formality.
BYU on a Tuesday. Are you serious? I mean, I got plans at Applebee's after this. Kentucky was a road dog at Mississippi State. In fact, the money kept coming in on the Bulldogs. They tipped off a 4.5-point favorite over the Wildcats. Mississippi State hit a 3 with about 11 seconds to go to tie it. Reed Shepherd of Kentucky hit a foul line floater at the buzzer to win it. Kentucky 91, Mississippi State 89. Dayton got by Davidson, 21st ranked Dayton by 14. Our system play of the night, Utah State ranked 10.5-point favorite on the road against below 500 Fresno State. Doesn't matter. Just take the home dog. And sure enough, they lost in overtime, but they covered 77-73. Florida State, a winner over NC State. Knowles are above 500. And another one of our plays, it's not a system play, but it's our second favorite play of the year. What do? The game after a team scores their biggest win of the year, you bet against them. And in fact, don't be afraid to bet the money line against them, that they're going to lose the next time out. Last time we saw Wake, they were beating Duke at home. Wake went to Notre Dame last night. Not a good team. Got beat 70-65.
For the record, BYU hosting TCU on Saturday.
There you go. There you go. I thought the reason Trent came in all happy and peppy and bursting with love was because the Heat won again, and he has just been on a heater betting Miami. They went to Portland. Jimmy Butler, Terry Rozier and company back in the lineup. Butler 22-9, Rozier 19. And even though they were down 10 at the half, the Heat beat the Blazers by 10, 106-96. Orlando, we should have bet this. Brooklyn back-to-back nights on the road. We should have bet this. All right. Orlando beat them by 27, 108-81. Magic, remember when they started 16-7? Well, they're almost back to that threshold again. They're back 7 games above 500, trying to avoid the play-in. I think it's going to come down to the Magic or the Pacers for the last spot to avoid the play-in. Possibly, and because the Sixers keep fading. Speaking of the Sixers, without Embiid, they lost to the Celtics 117-99. 9-game winning streak for Boston. Jaylen Brown with 31. They're 46-12. They're playing nearly 750 basketball. In fact, they're playing 750 basketball. They're playing nearly 800 basketball. That's pretty good. Where are we? Pelicans bomb the Knicks. 115-92, outscoring them by 16 in the fourth. Max Strus hit a 55-footer at the buzzer. Cleveland over Dallas, 121-119. And Chris Paul returned after missing 7 weeks. Played 22 minutes, had 9.6 assists. Golden State beat Washington by 11. Hockey. Did you see the power outage in Philly?
I did. Had the game on.
So they're about, 6 minutes into the game? It's 1-0 Flyers, and then all of a sudden, what in the world's going on here? And there was a transformer that blew in the building, and the whole side of it was dark. The one side that I think in the first period, the side that the Flyers were shooting at or the Lightning were shooting? I think it was the Lightning were shooting at because the Flyers goalie was in a little bit of darkness. And he didn't really want to continue playing, but his coach was like, we're up 1-0. We're continuing to play. But they lost power in the broadcast booths. They lost power throughout the arena. There was no organ. There was no music. I mean, it was like the players said it was like an outdoor game where it was just you, the hockey, and the fans. And that was it. Flyers scored 5 times in the third period. 5 in the third. 2 of them empty netters, but still 6-2 over the Lightning.
The Lightning started pulling the goalie with 9 minutes left in the game.
I know. And Stammer scored 1, and then they had a couple empty netters. Yeah, Cooper will do that. He's got 8 minutes to go. We're down 3. What the heck? Face off in the zone. Vasilevsky, come here. Panthers, Matthew Tkachuk had missed some time injured. He came back, goal and a helper. Florida 3-2 over Buffalo. They are tied with the Bruins for first, but they've got the game in hand. How about your guys' Wings?
6 in a row, I think.
6-game win streak, which is the longest this decade. All right. They are just 2 points behind Toronto for third place in the division. You're almost not a wild card anymore. Of course, I don't know if you really want to finish in third.
I'd much rather be the first wild card and play the New York Rangers as opposed to playing the Florida Panthers or the Boston Bruins.
Exactly. I'm with you. Speaking of Toronto, they had their 7-game win streak snapped at home by Vegas 6-2. By the way, that's the 300th win in franchise history for the Golden Knights. They are the fastest team in NHL history to get to 300 wins. They did it in a little over 500 games. You think about it, most expansion teams struggle, and they're winning over 60% of their games. What else we have? Colorado over Dallas. That could be a Western Conference final, except they're in the same division, so I guess it can't be. 5-1 Avs over the Stars. This Nathan McKinnon guy, Mark, not just a goal and an assist, but he has scored a point in all 29 home games this year. Not a single home game that he hasn't been on the score sheet. And Gary Bettman flew to Winnipeg yesterday after the Winnipeg owner last week in an interview with The Athletic said, yeah, if we don't get our season ticket base up and the fans don't start showing up, this franchise isn't sustainable here. They already play in the smallest arena. That's not Phoenix because they're playing in a 4,500-seat hockey arena. But their maximum capacity is a little over 15,000. Their season ticket base is down to 9,500. 3 years ago, it was 13,000.
Right, and they need to get it back to the 13,000 mark for this franchise to be someone that they can sustain themselves in Winnipeg.
Right, and then Bettman visited, and I will say he was all positive, didn't try to say warning signs, but he just said, the way you guys are supporting them now, they may still be in the league, but they ain't going to be any good.
Well, and they're good.
I know. What are they in first?
Yes, they're in first place. They've got one of the best goaltenders in the game.
Right. I know. They're not the most exciting team in the world. I will say that. But
well, there is that.
But anyway, Major League Baseball. So Ohtani had his spring training debut for the Dodgers yesterday, and he homered. So, they're cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs over that. Cardinals signed longtime Giants infielder Brandon Crawford to a deal. He's 37. I will say the Cardinals have made a lot of moves this year. I don't know if they've signed anybody under the age of 30. Remember the Phillies team, 83? They called them instead of the Whiz Kids, which were, I think, the Phillies team of the 50s. The 83 team went to the World Series, but they were all old. Rose at first. Joe Morgan was on the team. They called them the Wheeze Kids. Okay, the Cardinals are trying to recreate that. Honestly, AARP, I think, could be a sponsor of the 2024 Cardinals. Still may be good enough to win that division because it's not very good. Byron Buxton played center field in a spring training game in Fort Myers yesterday. Why is that a big deal? He hasn't played the outfield since August of 2022 because of 2 knee injuries. Every time he played last year for the Twins, he was the DH. So Buxton roaming the outfield, and when he's healthy, he's one of the best outfielders in the game. He also, by the way, has not played 100 games in a season in 7 years, Byron Buxton. And I was a day late with this. My apologies. Jose De Leon, for those of you in the 80s and 90s, remembered the tall, skinny right-hander. Good stuff. He died of cancer at the age of 63. And at 8 minutes before the hour, that was
the Starting Five every weekday morning at this time on Miller and Moulton.
So there you go. If I missed anything, well, between the text line and the Twitch chat room. And
they'll let you know, but I think we're in pretty good shape.
Okay, hope so. Miss anything at the Combine? Got Pat Kirwan coming up in 45 minutes for that.
We'll say it's fun to see the notes. I saw the notes for the Starting Five this morning, scrawled on a piece of paper written in Moulton.
This is very tame. And you know what you should see? And I don't know what your scorebooks look like. You should see it. In fact, I got a scorebook here. That is an absolute mess.
Yeah, I did my own score sheets for hockey, and I only did hockey for the longest time. When I started doing basketball, I didn't do my own scorebook because that game moved too fast. I relied on
them doing stats for you.
Well, and they have it on a computer screen. So
right.
As long as it's updated, you're in pretty good shape.
Yeah.
You don't trust them.
Well, not a lot of places I don't get a computer with stats updates, so I got to keep the stats myself. Oh, multicolor, blue ink, red ink, black ink. Oh yeah, lines, circles, spectacular.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
When choosing something of high value and personal significance, such as a diamond, you want to shop with the best, and the mall is not the place to be. Here are my friends, Jason and Todd with the Diamond District.
Take a stroll in the mall, pop into a few jewelry stores, and you'll soon discover you're in the wrong place. Rings begin to look all alike. You're not finding GIA certified diamonds. You quickly realize you know more than a salesperson helping you, and all the same financing gets pushed on you.
Visit Jason and me, and you'll find America's top bridal designers dealing exclusively with the Diamond District. You'll find the largest selection of GIA certified diamonds, all priced 8 to 10% over cost. You'll find educated sales consultants who have many years' experience and are not paid commissions.
And you'll find Todd and me in the store nearly every day, wanting to shake your hand and welcome you to our Diamond District family.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further, because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung specializes in criminal defense, DUI, personal injury, nursing home claims, and auto accidents. I'm a former prosecutor with over 34 years of experience. The information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, time is of the essence to maintain your driving privileges. Call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung for a free consultation. At the law firm of Michael F. Hornung, we are committed to excellence in your representation. Being a local attorney with local knowledge is clutch to the success of your case. For over 30 years, we have successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Our offices are conveniently located in Fort Myers. Visit online at mfh-law.com.
Mark Miller for Molly Maid. Why Molly Maid, you ask? Trust. Moulton was a customer for 15 years. Affordability. Didn't I just say Moulton was a customer for 15 years? Worry-free services. Our professional house cleaners are fully insured and a 24-hour warranty. Call Molly Maids today at 239-774-5839. That's 239-774-5839 or online at mollymaid.com/FTMYERS. That's mollymaid.com/FTMYERS. You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
That's funny.
National Pancake Day.
Ooh. What kind of toppings on your pancakes? I'm just a syrup guy, to be honest with
French
you.
toast pancakes or waffles.
There you go. Done.
I think we've done that before.
Who cares? Maybe we did it a year ago today.
Possible.
By the way, it's no longer a Crown Plaza. It's a Hilton Homewood Suites. So I guess the only Crown Plazas by Gulf Coast Town
Jim's
Center.
still running it?
Yeah, he is. They made changes though. And I mean, they took away, you remember the big room where we had the like Dr. Roto and what have you. I think, well, you can't see it from the outside. They put a wall. Okay. I think they took the smaller room away where you could have like a meeting for 20. I'm going to go in the sports bar tonight just to see if they took that away completely or that's now an extension. They're going to extend the restaurant. I don't know, but they built a wall so you can't see into it. So yeah, no longer Crown Plaza, but yeah, he's still there because I went through him for the arrangements.
McDaniel talked about Tua yesterday that they plan on signing. We want to go Dolphins here and just
sure.
Someone was talking about the cap, that they're in cap hell. They're not really in cap hell, are they?
No. On paper they were, but then they got 15 million from the league, and then they cut those two guys.
Do you use Spot Rack or do you use overthecap.com? Do you have a go-to?
No, I don't.
All right, here we go.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Hour 2 of Miller and Moulton on this hump day. We're getting over it together. Pat Kirwan joins us live from the Combine in Indianapolis in 35 minutes time. Seth Everett, 1 hour from now. We'll talk some hockey before the show runs its course, or at least before the Diamond District bonus hour for those in the 239. Text line 21,000. Started the show just, talking about a few things off the top of our heads. And I made reference to, I think my next game that I travel to could be Brazil, because we're convinced at Monday Night Football we're going to get that game. And we'll see. We'll maybe surprised if we don't. And since it's the day after the season opens, I don't know if I'm doing any traveling before that. And I made a comment about, me in Brazil, and should I really see the sights or, mingle or where am I best staying in the hotel room?
Don't you guys do one preseason game?
Well, yeah, that's true. I don't really count it, but
you have to go. You are required to be there.
Actually, I'm not. I could get out of it if I want. Okay. Because in a preseason game, it's a joke. I'm stealing money. I don't know if there's anything that I say. First off, I don't know if I say 4 things. Honestly, strategy in a preseason game. And we had a really good one last year. There's a couple scores in the final minutes, and it was, as exciting as a third week of August game could be. But come on.
We had a comment in the off of Facebook, because you can take the show in 6 million different ways. One of them is Facebook at the Miller and Moulton page. And he says, the Dolphins are in cap hell. And I wanted to address it because they're not really in the cap hell that people think that they are.
No. So they were the third worst, I think, on paper. And they're still the third worst, but they got a $13 million gift from the NFL, as did everybody else. So that took them from like 50-something million to 42 million that they're over the cap. Well, they just announced that they're cutting Agba and X. Now, the X savings don't start till June 1st, but that's 3/4 of, what they were over the cap right there. But granted, it doesn't get them to the point. They have to be at 255.4 on March 17th.
Right.
So the X number doesn't necessarily help them immediately. It will help them greatly come June 1st. But 2 is up for a contract extension. They can lower his cap hit, which is currently a little over 22 million. Waddle can get a contract extension for the first time. They can lower his cap hit by a couple $1 million. But also, Jerome Baker's got a $10.6 million cap charge. They've already said to him, restructure or we're going to cut you. And so that could be $10 million in savings right there. On paper, it looks bad, but the Dolphin situation, actually, they could go from 50 million over to 40 million under with basic bookkeeping by NFL standards. Now, what does that do to their cap situation in 25, 26, 27? It's probably in a few instances kicking some cans down the road. But then again, if the cap's going to go up, 25, 30 million a year, then, I think kicking the can down the road will be easier to do for all teams.
So, you already knew about a couple of the cuts that they were going to make. The Tua signing will help, not hurt, when that gets done as well. So there's just a couple of the things that people were concerned about with the Dolphins in their cap.
What are they going to do with Wilkins? Are they going to keep him or let him go? Obviously, if they let him go, that's all that money that they save. If they're going to pay him, can they structure it in a way in which they keep him? He makes more, but he actually counts less against the cap, which often is the case. It's NFL bookkeeping.
It is the most creative accounting that's ever been done outside of the government.
I was going to say,
public accounting.
Right. By the way, apparently we are 22 trillion over the cap, with no plans to get down to the cap.
We kick that can down the road, David.
Yes.
I mean, that's what we do with that can. We just kick it down the road.
Yeah, I don't think it's a can anymore.
No.
I mean, it's got to be at least a 6-pack of cans, don't you think?
It's more like a barrel.
You got to injure your foot if you're kicking that sucker down the road. There is no question about that. But on paper, the Dolphin situation looks bad, but believe it or not, it can be easily rectified, is the thought process in amongst NFL people. Now, we'll see. We'll see how much ball they're willing to play, how much cash is Stephen Jones willing to take out of his pocket. A lot of deals could get restructured here. Are they going to bring back Robert Hunt? And if so, what will it cost? They're going to bring back Connor Williams. And if so, what will it cost? So I would expect some very creative bookkeeping by the Dolphins over the next 2 weeks, because they have a lot that they have to address, especially at the line of scrimmage mark. That's 2 offensive linemen who were starters. That's, depending on who you talk to, their best defensive lineman. He certainly was heading into last year. I'm not sure that he was last year, but he certainly was for a few years heading into last year. So in Wilkins. So what are they going to do? In theory, they got to replace X. Are they going to do that on the cheap? They're going to do it through in the draft. They're going to do it from within.
First off, Wilkins, what would you do?
I agree with Pat a lot of the time in terms of there are only so many big men who can do that.
Yeah, I'd pay him.
And so I don't want to tag him, though. I mean, the tag for his position is over 23, and that's a hard count against the cap. You can't maneuver that. So I don't want to tag him, but I do want to keep him and guarantee money for 2 years probably, and then maybe be able to move off him in 26. Very curious, all the griping that is not so quietly going on by the Dolphins defenders. Remember what their big move was in the offseason last year? It was the hiring of the defensive coordinator, best in the business. Well, it's funny. A lot of the Dolphins players are going, listen, he's a good coach, but his style didn't really work with our group. And not only that, he wasn't as aggressive as we wanted him to be. Like the way they played against the Chiefs is apparently the way that Jalen Ramsey and others wanted him to play. Like they blitzed a lot against the Chiefs because they were so shorthanded. They thought the only chance they had was to just try to cut the head off the snake. They played a lot of man. Vic liked to play a lot of zone. Ramsey
doesn't like zone.
Oh, and he said X isn't a zone corner either. Right. You were taking away from, like Ramsey's already said X is going to go elsewhere and be phenomenal. He goes, if he just goes to somebody who wants to play man, he's the top corner in the league. We didn't play man enough. And so I'm curious how much the Dolphins and how much some of their players think that even though Vic's terrific, but that his thing didn't really jive with our thing. And he's kind of fit what you guys into my system. And they kind of looked at him going, I think you really needed to adjust your system to us.
Well, and I mean, that's, you start with who the best is at the defensive side, and it's Belichick. And they were never a man team. They were never a zone team. They were a team that adjusted to their opponent. And that's what I think, the Miami players that are speaking up are really talking about, is that they didn't want to see the same thing game in, game out. Makes you a little too predictable.
Like there's an interesting talk now going on in Dallas, not just in terms of demeanor, the difference between Dan Quinn and Mike Zimmer. I mean, that's a staggering difference in personality, happy, peppy, and then, a meat grinder. But Zimmer is blitz crazy. Zimmer will blitz 60% of the time. Dan Quinn's not a blitzer. Dan Quinn will actually play a lot of 3 safety look.
And come on, every defense likes blitzing. It's like linemen like to run block. I mean,
Right.
it's.
Oh, you're right.
They want to go forward. It's easier attacking.
And so now the question is you look at some of the Cowboys personnel, and you go, are they a better fit for what Dan was doing? Because remember, up until the playoff game against the Packers, I mean, the Cowboys defensively had been pretty darn good the last 3 years. Not against Green Bay in the playoffs. And so when you're looking at your personnel, does it fit the system, or is Zimmer going to have to change and not be as blitz crazy as he was with Cincinnati and Minnesota, and also how he was with Dallas? He blitzed, but then again, he had DeMarcus Ware. He had a couple guys who get after passer. He's got Micah.
I was going to say he's got one that gets after the quarterback
he
pretty
does,
well.
But I'll tell you what, teams can scheme away from that. They can. And they did. I mean, I don't even know if Micah Parsons was on the stat sheet for the playoff game against Green Bay. What did they score? 48? They took their foot off the gas early fourth quarter.
But that's where blitzing and exotic blitzes and bringing D-backs in and doing other things with the blitz, that's how you take Parsons, to me, and you can still blitz him effectively, because you've got to have someone else coming from other sides to –
well,
if you're going to try to scheme away from him, then someone on the other side's coming that they're not expecting.
And remember, Diggs got hurt early last year, the ACL. He'll be back this year. And he's an aggressive corner. I think would fit Zimmer's system even better than he fit Quinn's. But getting back, the main point was the Dolphins and the cap, and it looks bad on paper, but believe it or not, with the way they've got it situated, don't be surprised if the Dolphins on March 17th, you turn around and you go, wait a minute, they got $45 million in cap room? Don't be surprised. Just saying. And they could keep a lot of their guys and save money against the cap compared to how their contracts were structured last year.
By the way, what's Tua going to get?
Well, I think he's going to get a long-term deal, and they're going to get long-term to make it as cap-friendly as possible, and they don't have a replacement. So, I mean, come on. Are you really going to have anybody else at quarterback before 2026 at the earliest?
No, I'm just wondering with the dollar figure that you think it's going to be.
Yeah, I think it's going to be 5 years minimum, and it's going to be 200 plus. He's going to get 40 plus. Come on.
It's just a question of, is it 45?
Yeah, okay.
No,
I mean, 42, 43, 45. I mean, it all depends on how you structure it.
5 years minimum, though. So you think?
I think they'll do it for cap purposes also. Never mind the fact they don't have anyone to replace him. And they don't want to spend any resources in the next couple of years to even think about it. So, therefore, I think they will go at least 5 years. Burrow went 5. Did Burrow go 5 or 6? Lamar went 5. I mean, Allen and Mahomes went even longer. But I think it'll be minimum 5. Hey, we don't have a poll question.
I know. And the only thing that I've seen today that interests me is the fact it's today's National Pancake Day.
Let's do it.
Give me some syrup.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung specializes in criminal defense, DUI, personal injury, nursing home claims, and auto accidents. I'm a former prosecutor with over 34 years of experience. The information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, time is of the essence to maintain your driving privileges. Call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung for a free consultation. At the law firm of Michael F. Hornung, we are committed to excellence in your representation. Being a local attorney with local knowledge is clutch to the success of your case. For over 30 years, we have successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095 That's 239-437-0095. Our offices are conveniently located in Fort Myers. Visit online at mfh-law.com.
Mark Miller for Molly Maid. Why Molly Maid, you ask? Trust. Moulton was a customer for 15 years. Affordability. Didn't I just say Moulton was a customer for 15 years? Worry-free services. Our professional house cleaners are fully insured and a 24-hour warranty. Call Molly Maids today at 239-774-5839. That's 239-774-5839 or online at mollymaid.com/FTMYERS. That's mollymaid.com/FTMYERS.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network. I've got discrepancy. That's not Pancake Day according to this.
No, National Pancake Day. Apparently, it's right before Lent.
Yeah. Okay.
Mark, can you send me the StreamYard link? Can you send me the StreamYard link?
Thought I did, but I'll do it right now.
No worries.
I got to send it to Pat and Seth too. If I didn't send it to you, it means I didn't send it to anybody.
With the, if we want to do the kickoff, we should give people a choice.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Like the
how
options.
would you, to bring the kickoff back? How would you change it? And do we give them move the kickoff back to the 30? Okay, make a touchback. Start at the 35-yard line, because then teams, in theory, aren't going to want to kick it through the end zone.
I like that.
Yes, no, maybe, or you want to go pancake?
I really wasn't even listening because I was sending invites to the show. So
no problem.
I heard you. I heard you do a kickoff thing, and you had explanations. I
was thinking, give people a choice. How would you best adjust the kickoff? Move the kickoff back to the 30. Make a touchback the 35-yard line.
Here's my only knock on all this. Unless you eliminate the fair catch on the kickoff, what's going to encourage coaches to want the guys to run the ball?
Well, but if you make a touchback to 35, I mean, that's a touchback. Oh, okay.
Oh, when I can raise my hand on the 10 now and catch it, where are they giving me the ball? The 25, the 35? Because they put that fair catch in to eliminate
contact. Yeah. To eliminate the short kick, which they think could be more dangerous. Right. Eliminate touchback in field of play. Because that's what you're saying. It's one thing to do the touchback in the end zone. Or do you just want to eliminate the touchback?
I'd eliminate the touchback.
You don't need a reason to go pancakes, waffles, or French toast, you know. You can just say we're hungry.
Pat's already up. Pat's already connected.
I mean, we could just, the poll question could be, we're hungry. So which do you prefer?
Can't believe it's not National Pancake Day.
tell you what, being able to leave work and go sit by the pool for like 4 hours, that does not suck. It's been a good.
Oh, so you're finally figuring out where you moved to, huh?
Yeah, a little bit.
Now, do you have a pool at the apartment?
Yeah, it's just a community.
Yeah, I know. There's got to be. I mean, it's a college department.
Yeah,
there would have to be
It's always
Scenery.
right.
It's
My guess is there's some scenery.
a little bit.
And this time of year, even more so because the temperatures have hit 80.
Yeah, no, it's been a great stretch of days.
It'll be like this till November, by the way.
I can take that. Then in November, that's when Mark will see me show up with pants on here instead of shorts.
After one summer of blazing heat, you will.
Yeah, I'll acclimate. It's just I came down at that perfect time where it was like, I left 45 degrees in Nashville. Okay, here we go.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network.
21 minutes past the hour. Pat Kirwan to join us in a little more than 15 minutes. Seth Everett at the top of the hour. And we'll talk some hockey before we call it a show as well. And that's just before the Diamond District bonus hour. Miller and Moulton in the same studio, which only happens a handful of times a year these days. So,
I didn't get the ticket to Brazil.
Well, I haven't gotten it yet. All right. I just, I've made tentative plans. That's all. You want to go to Brazil?
Oh, man, I would love to.
You want to do the show on location?
Would love it.
All right.
Stow me away on Air Aikman.
Well, I was going to say, the good thing is, I can get you a hotel bed. I don't know if I can get you a room. You might have to share the room with me. Okay. I don't think I can get a second room, but I can get you a place to call it a day, if you know what I mean.
We were talking about the scenery by, a college pool. I was, not you guys. You guys aren't creeps like that, but you even talk about the scenery in Brazil. That would not be bad.
That's exactly what they want. Okay. They want a 58-year-old guy who looks like me to be,
you never know,
to be carousing around the streets going, oh, look, what a catch he is. Oh, goodness. Look at him talking to the ladies.
Oh, you're going to the football game?
He's got game. And they're like, they only for them. Okay.
American football.
It's like, right. It's like being in Ireland, when the Notre Dame's playing, and it's a big story. It's on page 11 of the sports section. Right.
That's the thing of all these games. Give the NFL credit. They are trying to broaden their brand. But when these games are in London, and I don't know about Germany, but I do know they're page 6, page 7 news. They're not
right
a big deal at all. If you watch NFL Network, they make it seem that it's a monumental occasion.
Well, it's Pravda. What is the NFL Network going to do? Go, well, guys, I got to admit, I walked down the street and, here's how people are feeling about the game. And they interviewed 20 people who are like, game? What game? I don't think Pravda would appreciate that.
That's what the NBA Network should do during those games. Well, no, because the NBA, when they play places, it's actually popular.
Yeah, very much so.
And they try to put a team with a player from that country in the mix. They do France.
We actually got into a discussion, I guess it was 2 years ago now, because the Niners, I forget, Cardinals, I think it was in Mexico City. And me, R&D. And so I was asking the natives, if you will, I said, NFL team or NBA team? Which would you prefer? And they were like, oh, NBA.
In Mexico City.
Mexico City. They said, yeah, NBA. They said, don't get me wrong, we love this. And they said Niners are actually pretty popular here. Niners, Cowboys most popular. Niners might be second. I was like, oh, interesting. But
an NBA team in Mexico City would be awesome. I think that would really work.
Well, it will be interesting going forward. You guys mentioned something the other day about the NBA is probably 2 years away. The second half of this decade. Like right now, the faces of the league are still LeBron and Steph. But, let's get to about 26, 27, the second half of this decade. LeBron's likely going to be retired.
I mean, LeBron's got 3 years left.
I don't think so.
2
tops.
Well, even then, I mean, the point's well taken. By the end of the decade, it'll be...
Well, I don't even think the end of the decade. I think by about 2027, Steph will be at what, 37, 38 by then?
Steph might retire before LeBron does.
No, I don't think so.
I mean, his game he'll be able to keep playing. I just don't know if he will. But aside, the point is
that who will the faces of the league be? In the next tier right now,
they're all European. Everyone except Jason Tatum. Every single guy.
And I would think for him to get to the status where he's the face of the league, what does Giannis have? Ring. What does Jokic have? Ring. All right. Now, this Wembanyama's phenom, he could be the face of the league in 3 years.
He could be in 3 years because they are, I mean, the people who follow the league are ultra impressed with the growth he's shown already this year.
And he's very likable.
Yep.
He smiles a lot. He kind of has that Giannis likability.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But if Tatum and the Celtics could get a ring, that would really help. I think to be the face of the league, like I know people have mentioned Luka, got to have a ring. At least got to play in the finals. But I think got to have a ring to be the face of the league.
And playing for the Celtics sure doesn't hurt.
Not at all. Not at all. And if the league, look at how non-American the league has become. And the American sports fans fine with it, by the way.
Absolutely.
I mean, they have nothing against these guys. Pay to watch them play. Love to watch them play. So this league is becoming more non-American. And does that lead them to, we've always wondered, the NFL's trying to jam, talking about franchises in Europe. But if the NBA sat down and said out loud, we're thinking Mexico City, we're thinking Madrid, we're thinking, it doesn't seem as far-fetched, does it?
No, not at all, especially considering they have a team in Toronto already.
Well, no, and I think for this to happen, the leagues would have to explode in size. I don't think that we're sticking at 30 and 32 and
and we know that the 30 to 32 is going to be Vegas and Seattle. I mean, that's all but done.
Right. But this means that these leagues would go to 36, 40.
Oh, yeah, they'd get nuts. They'd get nuts. But you know what? I mean, come on, we're looking at college football. What won't leagues do for cash? I mean, we talk about it in baseball. Why are we going to have expansion in baseball? For no other reason, Mark, why are we going to have expansion in baseball?
Expansion fees, and the owners will make so much money off of the expansion fees.
And I don't think they have to share a dime with the players.
Nope.
That's $2 billion for 2 franchises. That's $4 billion divided by 30. That's $133 million that just came in the mail. Do you really care if there's a team in Nashville or Portland?
And do you really care if it affects the overall quality of the league?
Hell no.
Especially the blue chip owners who
will still be really good.
Or not, a lot of them already have titles and all that stuff. So
and will still be good. The Yankees will still be the damn Yankees no matter how many teams they put in the league. Time now for our play of the day. Our Molly made play of the day. Trent, what do you have for us?
You very rarely see a half-court shot go in, a three-quarter shot go in, let alone for the win at the buzzer. So we have to go to Cleveland, Rocket Mortgage Fieldhouse. I still call it the Q. But Cavaliers are hosting the Mavericks, pretty evenly matched teams, and they traded the lead with 2 great plays in the final 10 seconds. Here you go.
Leva has that tip by Mobley, but Doncic gets it back. Doncic dumps inside Washington, puts it in. 2 seconds left. The Cavs are out of timeout. They have to go 94 feet. Strus from midcourt. Oh! Do you believe this? Whoa!
Thank God he didn't try to say, do you believe in miracles? But Max Strus, ex-Heat sharpshooter, he was sure sharp on that one. But the Mavs cover the 3.5 points. Cavs win at 121-119. How about the Cavs? They're in second place in the East. They're still 7.5 games back of Boston, who's just rolling everyone. But this is probably the best non-LeBron Cavs season since Doherty and Price.
No doubt.
They're rolling.
No, I took the Bulls, the late 90s Bulls. I think it was the 96 Bulls. I think they took them to the conference finals.
Yeah. And there's your Molly made play of the day.
Strus was perfect from beyond the arc last night. I think he was 5 of 5, including that long bomb to win the game.
About 55 feet, wouldn't you
Yeah.
say? Midcourt's 47, so
Yeah.
you would say it's about 55 feet.
And it was a good inbounds play because he was running up. I mean, it was a great setup. And the radio guy there did it no justice of the setup, how they got him the ball. Nice little play.
Yeah.
To go back to him to get him the running start and take the shot. It was
And a great play before that, too.
Oh.
Luka to just stay calm, get the ball back, throw it into PJ Washington, who they just acquired from Charlotte. Good basketball. There's your Molly Maid play of the day.
Call Molly Maid today. 774-5839. That's 239-774-5839. And give your spouse the gift of a clean house.
I hear they like that. We just did it the other day. And then the granddaughter came over like 4 hours later and, spilled their snacks all over the place, put her fingers on the windows. Okay. Oh, yeah, it was great. $200 was wasted in 4 hours.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung has successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida for over 30 years. As a former prosecutor, the information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, a criminal matter, or involved in an auto accident, call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung. I'm a local attorney with local knowledge to assist you through the process. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Offices in Fort Lauderdale.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6 and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
If you're in love and thinking about a diamond, you'll want to hear from my friends Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
When purchasing a diamond, you deserve a relaxed, stress-free, and educational experience. You want to have a good time and feel comfortable. You want selection, quality, and value.
At the Diamond District, you'll get it all. With our team of non-commissioned diamond advisors, no one's in a rush. We care only about you and making sure your needs and wishes are fulfilled.
You'll be wowed by our selection of GIA certified diamonds, stunning diamond bracelets, earrings, pre-owned Rolex watches, exotic ruby, sapphire, emerald, and tanzanite jewelry. There's something for everyone at the Diamond District, and all at the lowest prices anywhere.
Jason and I love what we do and are in the store nearly every day. We look forward to shaking your hand and welcoming you to our Diamond District family.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Morning, Pat.
Uh-oh. Was that you, Pat? Now, all right. Still don't hear you. Heard a lot of scratching. I'm guessing you can hear us, Pat? You got the host computer up, right?
Yeah.
Pat, still can't hear you. Give it a couple minutes to figure it out, then we'll call you.
We heard a little static for a second, so I think it's probably just something with either your computer or your microphone.
Let's just see what happens. I'll pull them out, add them back to the stage. That does nothing.
Hello, won't you tell me your
No,
name?
Comtech, it's not cheap to get into the Europe games. They're all sold out, but they're all American fans from all over Europe. It's not like...
That's why you see all the random jerseys.
Yeah, actually, they're not cheap at all.
Hey, Pat. Yeah, I hear you fine. Yeah, I know. And for whatever reason, we can't hear anything out of you. Yeah, I'll just have Trent call you. All right.
Johnny Mac, I don't think today there's hot dogs. There might be hot dogs after the show tomorrow. I got about 3 things I got to get done today. It's why I'm in town. One of them's a doctor visit.
Is it ringing? Try it again. 1. Yes, sir. Hello? I can't hear him either. Hello?
Okay, we're coming back. I'll just keep calling him.
Okay, he's going to keep calling you, Pat.
Either that or have him call the hotline.
Yeah, that could work too. We could try that. But here we go.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
22 minutes before the hour, Pat Kirwan expected to join us shortly from the Combine in Minneapolis. Seth Everett will join us at the top of the hour. We'll talk a little hockey 1 hour from now. Trade deadline's a week Friday. Lightning are the final wild card in the East. Panthers tied with the Bruins atop the division. Florida's got a game in hand. In theory, that, well, if Florida's the one, we could have Florida-Tampa.
Right. We could.
Think about how right now it'd be Florida-Tampa. It'd be Rangers and Wings,
right?
2 original Sixers who I don't
have
know.
Really, if they've ever, I mean, in our lifetime, have they played each other in the postseason?
I don't think so. I really don't. No. There's probably a cup final in the 50s or something like that.
Right.
But,
I'm sure they've played each other.
Right.
It's obvious, the original 6 teams and all, but not.
You know, Bruins Wings. Boy, there's no sex appeal there. Okay. Never mind on the other side. I mean, seriously, that's just the East. Pat Kirwan, kind enough to join us. You know Pat, NFL Radio, moving the chains, weekdays 3 to 7. He's also part of CBS's NFL Today show. He joins us once again, courtesy of Pinchers, Tampa to Key West, all points in between. Pinchers, where you can't fake fresh. So how was media day at the Combine yesterday? My goodness, everybody was talking. Well, maybe not. I don't know. It's weird. Got problems. Can't get Pat on the computer. Can't get him on the phone today. I really don't think it's him boycotting us.
No, it's not.
I mean, he booked himself on the show.
And he called during the break to say things weren't working. So,
So don't know what's going on there. We're still we're debating whether or not to go pancakes, waffles, French toast as a poll question.
Because it's not National Pancake Day.
No, you got bad information.
I got one website telling me it's National Pancake Day. I double checked it, and
we missed it by 2 weeks.
Yeah, it was in February 13th.
Right.
It was
2 weeks yesterday.
Right.
So, but we're always hungry, and we always talk about food. So we could just go. I mean, there doesn't have to be a rhyme or a reason for pancakes, French toast, or waffles. But we were thinking about, this whole kickoff idea that Stephen Jones has and bringing back the kickoff, and how would you best bring back the kickoff? And Pat, I don't know if you heard me just there, but we were pleasantly surprised by Stephen Jones suggesting out loud that, hey, I've got some ideas to bring back the kickoff. Is he a lone wolf here, or is there something to this?
No, there are people. There's a lot of pressure, I think, in the league office. Remember how they felt about the extra point when it was just a little chip shot and it was predictable, and they wanted to make sure there was something to it, not that. I think the same thing has happened to them now that they see the kickoffs at dead play. I don't think anything will pass, but I think they're talking about trying to do something maybe like the XFL did. And I don't think he's alone in this. I think there's some pressure from Roger. Let's fix the kickoff so it looks like a real play.
Do you think it's because we just had a Super Bowl with not a single kick return in it?
I think that was the icing on the cake, David, that happened, and that they don't like this when there's a play that's meaningless, and now it's meaningless. So, yeah, they're going to try to do something, but I think they're going to be in the discussion phase. And this is one of those classics. They'll reconvene at the next owners' meetings in June. So I don't think it's going to get done right away. There's too many people with crazy ideas, and they got to harness all the ideas. But I do think when Roger Goodell says to that committee, we got to do something about the kickoff, then they start going. And Stephen, he would not say those things unless he knew that there's some action plans to start to figure out how to fix it. So,
and he's on the competition committee, so that's important, isn't it, Pat?
Yeah, it is very important, and he's on it. And he's the same guy that said to me a couple of years ago he wanted to have at least a 50-man game day roster and mandatory 8 linemen active every week, and that never got passed. So, but he was the big proponent of that as well. He's not afraid to talk when he has strong conviction about things. So hopefully they're thinking about it, because the kickoff is a dead play right now.
All right. The Combine, Pat, I know you have to be there. Yesterday was just coaches talking. How necessary is the Combine anymore?
It's still very important for the medical end of it. You just imagine these 300 guys going to 15 to 20 different facilities for a personal physical. The original reason for the Combine is to get them all here with the doctors and knock out all the physicals. And so that part of it is still the most important part. But what gets lost in it is the media hype and all this stuff that we do now. I go back. I've been here a long time. I go back to Al Davis and one player in a locker room, and Al was taking a look at his stance. I walked in, and there was Al Davis sitting in the chair looking for this defensive end stance. And we were here for one big reason, and now it's turned into all this other stuff, and even the interviews are canned. So there are people that feel like the process has been watered down, but they know the medical part's still critical.
Pat, if you take the 31 million that the cap went up and you times it by the 32 teams, that's about $1 billion that has been added to the pot this offseason, if you will, and about nearly 400 million more than what they were expecting on. Do you think you will see that in evidence in free agency, or do you think the owners are still hell-bent on basically, paying about 5 guys on a team and shrinking the middle class?
I don't think it's going to help the middle class at all. And, no one's excited about the money. They're excited if they were over the cap and now put them under the cap. But I interviewed so many GMs yesterday, and every one of them said the same thing. Yeah, we were 20th in cap space, and we're still 20th in cap space. That's what happened. So the money's relative. Everyone's got it, and they're able to use it. But as I said, some guys are using it to bail out of a negative situation they're in. But I do think that the rich will get richer, and I think the middle class, look, the league likes a lot of young players. It's a young players league. Why do you think all these draft picks make teams? So the middle class is done, in my mind. And they don't even have a really good system to incentivize those guys to sign deals. Like, if you don't get the minimum wage, it's well over $1 million now for a veteran, you can't. Some of the guys have said to me, I agree to pay for half of that if they would let me come back, but they won't let you come back if the team can't afford to give you the minimum wage, which whatever it is. So it's kind of like, yeah, the middle class is not going to benefit from this.
Pat, we have some big name running backs that are all going to be free agents. They're not going to tag any of them from the looks of it. We were discussing yesterday what type of deals they're going to get. Are any of these guys going to get more than, with the way the league likes 1-year deals? How many of these guys are going to get multiple year deals?
Not many. Maybe Saquon Barkley and maybe Josh Jacobs. A couple of teams that have some cap issues that might have to put a 2 or 3 year deal together and thin out the front part of it, maybe. But I think most of these guys are going to be in a lot of trouble to get paid. You even look at the option bonuses for the 5th-year first rounders, like Najee Harris. It's only $6 million. It's like, they have no leverage anymore, and they are really going to be in some trouble to get deals and a big fat deal. I think Saquon Barkley is going to look back at the Giant offer and really regret that he never took it.
The Giants are talking about putting a different tag on their safety, McKinney. First off, quickly explain that. And secondly, can a team put franchise tag one guy and put a transition tag on another? No, you only have one use of one tag, and it's your choice to use a franchise or transition tag. For the listeners, franchise tag, the average, I'll just be brief here, the average of the top 5 guys in his position. Transition's the average of the top 10. People don't like the transition tag in the NFL because if someone wants your player and they have more cap space than you, they can structure a deal that you can't match. And so people stay away from the transition tag. I don't believe for a second that the Giants would transition tag their defensive back. I think they're going to land up franchise tagging them. And he had a very good year, Xavier McKinney. So I think they'll land up using it and go from there. Now, 2 guys have been tagged already, David. And the first things out of the GM's mouths to me was, we could trade those guys, which I don't believe they're trying to trade them. But T. Higgins, the coach said to me, he goes, no, T. Higgins is our other number 1 receiver, and we'll be very happy to have him on the field next year. So he was confident he wasn't going anywhere, even though they did suggest that he's tradable. Of course, it is true that they could trade him, but they won't. And I don't think they'll be trading L'Jarius Sneed either. So I think that the threat of the trade, and now they're going to let Sneed's agent go out and see if he can negotiate a deal. He's not negotiating the deal for the players, the easy part. Getting the compensation the club wants for him, which will be 2 number 1s, will be the hard part. So, I used to send agents, see if you can get a deal, but make sure you don't come back to me unless you have what I want. And that's where they'll probably fall apart. So both guys, I think, will return to their teams.
Do you think the Chiefs will end up signing Snead to a long-term deal, or do you think they're going to stick him with the franchise tag?
Well, they're going to put the tag on him for sure, and then I think they're going to end up doing a deal with him. Those guys, I've said this before to you guys, the reason they have a dynasty opportunity is that they've created a ton of cap space. They've got cap space. They're the world champions, and they're going to have, if they want to restructure Mahomes, they can end up with $75 million of cap space.
Jets in a tough spot. They had an expensive left guard who wasn't that effective, but they're also down 2 other starters. So they cut the guard. They have to replace 3 offensive linemen. They only have 5 draft picks, and they have a decent amount of cap space. But, Pat, correct me if I'm wrong. This is not a good free agent class for offensive linemen, right? I mean, you basically, if you need a lineman, you got to go to the draft.
Yeah, the draft is fat when it comes to tackles. It's really, really good. And it's not very good in free agency. So, yes, that's where you're going to have to go. And, look, I'll say this about the tackle population. It's not just first rounders. There's guys that are going to be in the second and third round that can play and play early. So, you know, you can't make a living just trying to have first round picks. It doesn't work like that. But when you start looking, I'll give you a couple of names of guys that aren't going in the first round that I like. And they're going to be capable of lining up next year and playing. And go look at the tackles around the league. So there's that Patrick Paul kid out of Houston. He's not going in the first round. 6'7", 330 pounds. He might break 5 flat in the 40. And he played at the Senior Bowl. He did a very good job. And line coaches like him. He's real smart. There's a guy, the Pooney kid out of Kansas, 6'5", 320. He's going to be a third rounder. The Pearl kid out of Illinois is going to be a third or fourth rounder. Those kind of guys can play. Christian Jones out of Texas, he started to play a lot better last year than he played before. So the line coaches, this will sound strange to your listeners. I know a bunch of line coaches don't want first-round draft pick linemen. They like to find their guys that have the work ethic they're looking for, and they work with them. And they know first-round pick has to go on the field opening day, and they don't even want to do that. So they're pretty happy with what's available in rounds 2 and 3.
Justin Fields, is he going to get dealt this week? And if so, what are you hearing, Pat?
I'm hearing a lot of stuff, about him, people that have coached him, people in the building that, he wants to, this is the quote I got last night. He wants to play free. And he doesn't really want to develop himself fully into what it takes to be an NFL quarterback. So there's a conflict there. I don't know that there's any team out there that thinks we're going to go get Justin Fields to save our franchise. Consequently, I don't think the compensation package is going to be very good for him.
Pat, got about a minute and a half. What happens today at the Combine? Because yesterday seemed like media day, coaches and GMs talking. What happens today?
Yeah, well, the GMs could care less about the 40-yard dash that's coming up. They're talking about the $40 million they're over their cap. It's business here, and they are still dealing with all those things. Option years, restricted tenders, voidable deals, franchise tags, minimum wages, all that money that got poured into the cap, guess what? So did some of the values go up. So some of that money, a lot of that money is going to get eaten alive by some of the things you have to do in the areas I said. So they're doing business today and tomorrow. And the scouts can go time the 40-yard dashes. They are just not caring about that. This morning now, I start my player interviews, and I start them at 8:15. And it's going to be the pass rushers. I've already interviewed a bunch at the Senior Bowl, but I got Jared Verse right away, the first guy.
Cool.
Scott Robinson after that. Then the linebackers are coming in here. I've already interviewed Cedric Gray, and I'm going to get Peyton Wilson and Junior Colson. Then the inside linemen are coming in. I've already done Sweat, and I've already done Darius Robinson, who I love. I've done Michael Hall, so Byron Murphy I'm going to get after that. So it's going to be, I don't know, about 15 interviews today, but those are the guys that I'm targeting early.
Pat Kirwan, live from the Combine in Indianapolis. Pat, go to work. Thanks.
Talk to you soon, fellas. Thank you.
Pat Kirwan, NFL Radio's Moving the Chains. The show is 3 to 7 weekdays and on Sundays during the season. He's part of CBS's NFL Today Show. Pat joining us again, courtesy of Pinchers, Stamp to Key West, all those points in between Pinchers where you can't fake fresh.
Seth Everett coming up on the other side. We'll switch from football to, whatever the hell Seth wants to talk about. That's next on Miller and Moulton.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
20 years ago, Jason and I had the idea for a jewelry store like no other, with a vast selection of certified diamonds priced 8 to 12% over cost. A team of individuals who are educated, driven, and believe in cultivating relationships.
Today, we have become one of the largest independent jewelry stores in the country. Todd and I love what we do and are in the store nearly every day, along with our GIA gemologists, master jewelers, custom designers, and non-commissioned diamond consultants, all of which we consider family.
As direct diamond importers, we travel the world, forging relationships and sourcing diamonds. What we love most about our business is that we can call Southwest Florida our home.
If selection, value, and comfort are important to you, give the Diamond District an opportunity. You won't find a better diamond buying experience. Todd and I look forward to shaking your hand and welcoming you to our Diamond District family.
At the Diamond District.
Mark Miller for Molly May.
Why Molly Maid, you ask? Trust. Moulton was a customer for 15 years. Affordability. Didn't I just say Moulton was a customer for 15 years? Worry-free services. Our professional house cleaners are fully insured and a 24-hour warranty. Call Molly Maids today at 239-774-5839. That's 239-774-5839 or online at mollymaid.com/FTMYERS. That's mollymaid.com/FTMYERS.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further, because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung specializes in criminal defense, DUI, personal injury, nursing home claims, and auto accidents. I'm a former prosecutor with over 34 years of experience. The information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, time is of the essence to maintain your driving privileges. Call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung for a free consultation. At the law firm of Michael F. Hornung, we are committed to excellence in your representation. Being a local attorney with local knowledge is clutch to the success of your case. For over 30 years, we have successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Our offices are conveniently located in Fort Myers. Visit online at mfh-law.com.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Has he joined us or no?
Seth is not there yet. There's Seth. He's in his car again.
No.
Hi, Seth.
Hi. How are you?
You taking the kids to school, or are you traveling again?
No, I had to take the kids to school because it's pouring here, but I have a doctor's appointment, so it didn't have time to go back home. And I do have 20 minutes to spare because I'm close. So
Okay.
this worked.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Yeah, no worries. Happy to do it.
Did you stay up for your Devils last night?
Midway through the second period.
So when they scored those 3 goals, you said, I think the horse is in the barn.
Well, I saw 2 of them because the one of them got waved off. And so once I then they got then it was 3-1, 2-1, then 3-1 again. I was like, okay, I'm done. We left it on though. My kids were like, why don't they save some goals for next week, for Friday? It's like, that's not how it works.
No, it is not. Besides, I can't believe with your goaltending that your kids would say saving goals for any occasion.
They are not making the playoffs unless they make a major change.
Well, what are they, 5 points behind the Lightning?
5, yeah.
They're closer to the Flyers.
Nope.
No?
Nope.
Tied, actually. Flyers with 69, Lightning with 69, you're with 64. You have 2 games in hand on the Lightning, though.
Correct.
1 game in hand on the Flyers.
Correct. It's doable. It's just they're not gonna.
It's a shame, too. You guys have assets. You've got stuff you could give up.
Sure.
Apparently, you nearly had, who was it, Markstrom from Calgary?
Yep. That's the guy I want.
Well, apparently they were very close to a deal 2-3 weeks ago.
Yeah. Yeah. This is the last time I will talk to you in my 40s.
When's your birthday?
Monday.
Any big party planned? They doing something for you Sunday?
I'll see my family on Sunday. You know, my mother, my sister, people I can't stand.
Right.
Yeah.
What's your problem with your sister? We only have 30 seconds.
Thanks for having me on.
See, Miller and Moulton are only children. All right, we don't, we hear about this stuff. We can see the angst in others.
Siblings.
We just look at one another and go, nah, we never had that problem.
Yeah. Got the Delaware shirt.
I saw that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's you blue hens. Is that where your daughter's going, or did you just buy the souvenir?
She's too young. We don't know, but it's on the list. She's interested. She might go there this summer for a program.
Oh. Some nice beaches nearby. All right.
She likes the idea that it's in Newark.
Here we go.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
And we begin our third and final hour along the network on this hump day, as we usually do, with Seth Everett. He of Sports with Friends Hall of Justice, 2 terrific podcasts. You can follow Seth on Twix, Twitter/X at Seth_Everett, Seth_Everett. If you are watching on Twitch, you see that Seth is joining us once again from his car. All right. We caught him after he just dropped his kids off to school because it's pouring in Jersey right now. So he was being a good dad, and he's on a way to a doctor appointment. So he's fitting us in. We appreciate that. So you're turning 50 in a few days.
That's
Is
the rumor.
this? Well, no, hopefully you get to the finish line, but I mean, that's why you're going to the doctor's office today. But anyway, so is this a BFD or not? Like I remember I was not happy with 30. I celebrated 40. 50's kind of a blur. I don't know. Like Mark, was there a birthday you had a problem with?
26.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. Closer to 30.
That was the only birthday in my life that I ever was depressed on my birthday. At 26, I felt like I hadn't accomplished enough, and I was closer to 30 than 20. The rest of them are just numbers.
So, all right, you're turning 50. Is this a big deal, or are you like, shut up?
No, it's not a huge deal. I mean, I guess it beats the alternative.
Yes.
I don't get hung up on them. I remember 30, I had just met my wife, and I was excited to have like a birthday party so I could show her off. That I remember.
Oh, yeah.
40, my 40th, we had a small party, but that was really funny because my wife got a cake, and she had Superman on the cake, and it was based on the Henry Cavill costume, not the like classic Superman costume. And as a joke in front of all my friends, I just said, well, that costume's all wrong. And it turns out that my neighbor, this guy who lives like our backyards connect, he's like an artist as a hobby. So like a couple of days after my 40th, he shows up at my house with this drawing of Superman in the right costume. And I took a picture of it with my phone and tweeted it. And I was like, wow, how about that? That's really cool. What a great job. And a comic book company hired him.
Oh, wow.
Isn't that a cool story?
That is a cool story.
Yeah, I mean, your wife
All
didn't
because
help
I was trying to be a wise guy, and I was like, oh, that costume.
You were a wise ass.
Right.
Upset your wife on your birthday.
Right. Right. I mean, she didn't talk to you for 2 weeks. Make it happen. Night didn't happen for a month. But
Right.
that's okay. Right. No.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah, no problem. Seth Everett joining us once again. So we were talking, we're all hockey fans. Our teams are in the playoffs right now. Your team is out. You're 5 points out. You got 2 teams ahead of you. Curious, are you wanting your team to go all in the next 9 days with the NHL trade deadline?
I think there's such high turnover rate in the NHL that saving assets doesn't really pay off ever. I think it's worth it to go all in. The Devils have excess of forwards. They could easily make a trade. They need to, and they know it. I think what they want to do is not pull the trigger too quickly. And the bottom hasn't fallen out in the sense that they're not so far out of it that it's suddenly not worth it. So they're in a tough spot. The trade deadline's always really fun in hockey.
It's awesome.
It's just a fun day, and it rejuvenates you as a franchise. But yeah, that's a big stress in our household.
Well, and I think unlike the NFL where no one typically won't trade in divisions and there's not a lot of trades, and baseball has some of that, hockey doesn't seem to have the same unwritten rules of where they will trade. If you can find a deal, they don't care if it's inside the division. They don't care if it's with the rival. They will make moves. And that's important for your Devils, Seth, because a couple of the goaltenders that are out there in the Eastern Conference that are maybe possibly to be acquired, and that's the guy that you need.
Maybe on Sports with Friends this week, I had the pre and post game host of the Philadelphia Flyers, which is one of my hated rivals. We did a whole thing on the Stadium series, and when we were talking, we talked about the rivalries with just draft picks. If you think about this kid Nolan Patrick, who was drafted in 2017, that's not a long time ago, and the Devils won the lottery that year. They got Nico Hischier, who's their captain, had a goal and 3 assists last night. And Nolan Patrick is out of the sport. That's 1 versus 2. And it's just, everything is so fleeting that there are no certainties in the sport. Unlike football, for example, unlike baseball, it's very rarely that you have Sam Darnold, who was the number pick in the draft and just completely busted, or Zach Wilson, or anybody that wears a Jets uniform. But there's just the idea that in hockey, there's so many unknowns. There's so many things you cannot predict. And if you remember, we talked about it on the podcast, that draft pick, the fan base didn't want to take Nico Hischier. They wanted Nolan Patrick, the guy who's out of the sport. It's a fascinating game.
Well, I remember Eagles fans didn't want Donovan McNabb. They wanted Ricky Williams. And,
that's right.
Obviously
it's a good example.
Worked out better that they took McNabb. I love the fact that you said and I want to make sure I get this straight, that the NHL trade deadline is causing a lot of anxiety in your household. I mean, usually south of Montreal and Toronto, it's tough to hear that sentence spoken.
Yeah, it's become a big talking point. The kids had off from school this week, and we went on a bunch of trips. We went to D.C. last week, and then we went to Ocala to see my other daughter, who was reserve champion in her class at the horse show.
Oh, look at you.
And she, and while we were there, at a horse show, you spend a lot of time wasting around. Because
I thought you were going to say you spend a lot of money.
Well, yeah, that too. But the idea at the horse show, if there's 20 competitors, each one is maybe on the track, on the course for 10 minutes tops. The rest of it, I don't care. I don't care who's going. I don't watch any of them. So on the Saturday, I watched Arsenal, the Devils, and a Syracuse game on devices. And at one point, the Devils were playing at the same time as Arsenal, and I had commandeered my daughter's phone. I said, I'm going to put the Arsenal game. If you want to know what's happening with the Devils, it's going to have to be your phone. And literally, this is how we did. And we spent the entire day talking about not having a goalie.
And you became, that's probably the sign of cool dad right there. Double devices watching multiple games.
Multiple sports, yeah.
That's not the sports bar. That's the sports bar on your computer, Seth.
That's right. We were sitting in the paddock, like where there were seats, so it's like shaded. And there's all these moms, and every time and dads, there's all these parents. As soon as their kid got on the course, they jump up and start filming. And we did that too when my kid was doing it. But my goodness, when every other kid was doing it, I didn't care if it was Snowflake or Tweedledum or any of these horses. I didn't care who these guys were, and I wasn't watching.
Are you comfortable in the paddock?
You like that I used that word? I used that word on purpose.
Well, and also, I mean, Seth, listen, we love you. We're an acquired taste. You're an acquired taste. Okay. I think it's one of the reasons why the three of us get along. All right. And just, there's usually a certain decorum in and around the paddock. And so I was just curious whether or not you're comfortable around the paddock, and then I can get to whether or not they're comfortable with you around the
Was the
paddock.
volume on, or we have earbuds? How are we?
No, we had the AirPods, and I had the Arsenal game in my ears, and the Devils game was in my daughter's phone. And at one point, Arsenal took a 1-0 lead, and I just went, yes. And everybody kind of looked at me like, what are you cheering? Like, it's in the middle of the round. Like, what are you doing? And I was just like, oops, sorry, please forgive me.
Seth Everett, Sports with Friends, Hall of Justice. We'll get to that in a moment. NHL trade deadline, by the way, a week from Friday. We will talk pucks in 25 minutes, and there will be stress, apparently, in the Everett household for the next 9 minutes.
How I'm curious, the horse thing now, as far as the parents, I've done the soccer, I've done the softball, I've done the gymnastics, and every parent and everything. I would think the horse parents are a little uptight in those events, because that's you're in Ocala, it's big money horse country there.
Yeah, one thing I'm always impressed with is the a variety of people that come from all over. There's people who come internationally. There's people from Kentucky, and there's people from North Carolina, and people from Georgia, and it was just everybody, and everybody was real friendly. No major thing. It was very nice. The whole weekend was really, really cool.
All right, Sports with Friends, Hall of Justice, go.
Sports with Friends. Jason Martinez, a guy I used to work for at WIP. Now he's the pre and post game host for the Philadelphia Flyers. We talked about Keith Jones, our buddy, our mutual friend who became the president of the Flyers. We talked about the 2018 Canada hockey scandal and why the NHL isn't saying anything about it. So it's a really interesting conversation on Sports with Friends. Hall of Justice is about Quantum Leap. Season 2 wrapped up. And Sweeney Murdy, my old pal from, they used to cover the Yankees, now he works for MLB. He is a big Quantum Leap fan, and he joined me for a Quantum Leap Season 2 reaction.
6 Kentucky Derby champions from Ocala?
That's nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, the equestrian, that's one thing that they are very prominent.
Yes.
Equestrian is not horse racing.
Well, no.
But that is horse country.
That is a big deal. It's a big deal. Like the horse racing, you have to sit on the other side. You're not allowed in the paddock.
Well, then why'd they allow you there? But all right, we'll get to that later. All right, safe travels. Have a good doctor visit. I'll have mine a couple hours from now. We can compare notes later today.
Sounds good. I'll be there.
Seth Everett, you better not be. Sports with Friends, Hall of Justice. Joining us once again. Follow him on Twix, Twitter/X at Seth_Everett, Seth_Everett. I have to admit, there's certain places you and I shouldn't be. And that's a top place where I don't know. Seth, yeah, just
the
wait.
Paddock?
Yeah. Seth, wait in the car. Okay. I mean, you don't really care about the 10 minutes in the horse. I mean, you want to watch your games, just stay in the car. Stay in the parking lot even. Pace the parking lot. All right.
I think that'd be cool to do like once, and then I would be like, all right, I don't need to do this again.
I'd love to be all over the inside of the horse track, the paddock and the jockey room. Oh, yeah.
You're all in?
I'm all in.
Well, good. I mean, your daughter's not doing enough things. I mean, get her involved in.
Oh, no, I don't want that. I want the horse racing. I don't want the equestrian stuff. I want to be around the paddock before the race.
And despite contrary belief, it is not the same thing.
No, you sit over there. You're allowed over here. Miller and Moulton, are we doing a poll question or not? All right. You guys decide. All right. Because if we're going to do it, we're going to do it next.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further, because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
Mark Miller for Molly Maid. Why Molly Maid, you ask? Trust. Moulton was a customer for 15 years. Affordability. Didn't I just say Moulton was a customer for 15 years? Worry-free services. Our professional house cleaners are fully insured and a 24-hour warranty. Call Molly Maids today at 239-774-5839. That's 239-774-5839 or online at mollymaid.com/FTMYERS. That's mollymaid.com/FTMYERS.
The waterways of Naples are a beauty to behold, and the Bayfront Inn has multiple ways for guests to enjoy the water and have some fun. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn. Something for everyone. On 5th Avenue in Naples.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6 and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network. It's my kid this year who is not going to make the playoffs solely because I've beaten him 3 times.
Oh, my goodness.
He's so pissed. He's got like the second most points in the league. Everybody has their big game against him this year. It's just...
Brian, I passed along your birthday greeting and wishes to Seth.
So for March Madness, can we do like a ESPN pool and have our listeners submit?
I wouldn't want to do it on ESPN.
Okay.
Find somewhere that's not Fox or ESPN, and I'm game.
Okay. I will.
And I would find that, and before we put anything out, we'll have to talk to Jeff, our web guy, to see how we can get it on floridasportsnetwork.com with the link.
Great idea. Just think that'd be fun.
You know, 1 year, and I think we were doing a show together. Well, first off, a crazy year. It was, I think, before we were together. We gave out our fax line number 20 years ago, damn near. And we said, fax in your bracket. We got 900 faxes.
That's amazing.
In like 2 days. The sales staff went crazy. They couldn't get any business done because the only thing that was coming in for 2 days was brackets. Okay. I mean, I nearly lost my job.
That's awesome, though. That is just, I love.
But we did 1 year, we did one of those, find a bracket, put it on the site and what have you. But also we found basically a do-over bracket. Like, so when after the first week went by and then during those 3+ days before the Sweet 16 started, it was kind of like, okay, loser's bracket, if you will. We found that, we put it up. And it was a huge success. And what was great about it is that it was such a bang for the buck for the sponsor. Because, you know, you get 3 days of brackets, and then once the tournament starts, I mean, you know, you could obviously mention the sponsor a few times, but everybody's made their picks.
Right.
Okay. But then when you have a second bracket and you got
Sweet 16.
Yeah. And then everybody would love a do-over.
Yeah, most years I would.
Sure. Most years everybody's.
I'm watching the games anyways. You might as well pick them.
Morning, EB Hill.
So my daughter's in the school play. It's next week. She's in the they're doing Jungle Book. She's in the chorus, and I've just been giving it to her because she wears a green outfit. I said, "So are you a bush? What are you in the jungle?"
Are you an asparagus? I mean, what are you?
Well, yeah, you're a leafy vegetable. What exactly? Fortunately, the play only lasts a half hour.
So did you hear a couple days ago, apparently Greeny, when Manfred announced that he's done in like 2028 or whatever, Greeny said publicly, he goes, I want to be the next commissioner of baseball. And when they started, he goes, no, I'm serious.
Wow.
Okay? I want to be the next commissioner of baseball. Right. Okay. Yeah.
Me too.
Yeah, I'm sure that's where the owners will turn. Okay. And then like the first thing out of his mouth, he talked about doing something for the fans. And I'm like, no. You need to suck up to the owners.
Yeah.
Okay? The owners decide who the next commissioner.
Yeah, it's not like
Greeny.
you're running for office.
Right.
It doesn't matter what the
Right.
people want.
Right. You know, saying I want to put Pete Rose in the Hall of Fame. I mean, great. That's not going to help you. You know.
You're not scoring points
No.
with that one.
Know your audience.
What would be worse, him as commissioner or Colin Cowherd?
Greeny. Because Cowherd, I think, would hire very smart people around him. If you look at the podcast network he's put together and what have
he
you,
seems like a.
and Cowherd's open
Here we
to
go.
alternative.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
21 minutes past the hour. Thanks so much for being with us on this hump day as we get over it together. Hope your week is going well. Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. Dave McCarthy, he talks hockey for a living. NHL Network, SiriusXM, NHL Radio, NHL.com. He will join us coming up in a little more than 15 minutes. We're 9 days away from a trade deadline. Hello. I mean, it wasn't quite a Broadway hello. But
It was close.
It was getting there. I mean, it was one step away. I mean, you know me and the trade deadline. I love a trade deadline. You know, I mean, that would be a Broadway greeting.
It definitely is.
Right. So my wife's into Idol, and apparently there was a woman from Broadway who's performing, and the judges said, you know, it's very impressive. You don't sound Broadway. And so I, of course, turned right at her and started imitating, you know, Broadway. And she looked right at me and go, yeah, that's why she may win. That won't win. She may win.
Does she get upset when you mock her shows as she watches them? Because that right there is pure mocking.
No, I thought it was just.
Do you think you added to her enjoyment of the show when the judges said you don't sound Broadway and you started with,
I love Broadway?
You think that
you
enhanced her
think
viewing
that at
experience?
that point she said, boy, Joe even more. In fact, I like my husband even more right now.
Well, it's been a while since she's seen a Broadway play. I just wanted to remind her, you know. See, she loves Birdcage, so she loved Nathan Lane's character. So there's nothing wrong with throwing a little, you know, Nathan Lane her way. That's what, you know.
I feel like if you lived here, see, my mother and my wife do the theater together.
Mm-hmm.
Keeps me out of the theater.
Oh, it's beautiful.
It's fantastic.
Right. Your mom has to live for a long time so that you can keep not going.
Well, long enough so that the daughters end old enough to replace mom in that.
Right.
The two of them can go.
Exactly. So mom, 20, 25 more years. And then, you know, by then daughter got her own family. Right. She can go get away from her kids. Right.
But in case there's ever an extra ticket, I now know who I'm calling.
Oh, totally. I'll drive down and everything.
We've got a poll question up. We did it.
The funny thing is, this question in some way, shape, or form was proposed at least 2 hours ago, maybe 2.5.
Well, you know, one thing leads to another. We just
let's cut to the chase. Mark didn't like it at 10-6. Wanted to do better. We couldn't do better. I said, let's take the day off from a poll question. He said, no, we have to have it.
So how would you best adjust the kickoff is our question. Eliminate the fair catch.
And this is because Stephen Jones of the Cowboys, if you missed us, we've talked about it very early, and then with Pat Kirwan last hour, Stephen Jones of the Cowboys, who's on the competition committee, has gone out, talked to about 6 different special teams people. We just had a Super Bowl without a kickoff. Roger Goodell now wants to bring the kickoff back into the game. He is going to bring it up before the competition committee. Here's 4 alternatives. Go.
Eliminate the fair catch.
Interesting. So if the kicker can just keep the ball in play, which includes, not through the end zone.
Right.
It would become more of an art like punting is, where you try to pin them.
Move the kickoff back to the 30.
Right, because they kick off now from the 35.
Yeah, and move the touchback to the 35.
When right now it's the 25. So, now the coaches are thrilled if the kicker bombs it through the end zone, let them start at the 25. Do you want them starting at the 35? Especially with field goal kickers today. A lot of kickers, once they get across midfield to about the 40, teams most of the year think I'm in field goal range. You only have to move the ball 25 yards to be in scoring range.
David, I'm going to say something, and you may not want to do the show with me again after this.
Damn.
Because it's not how football plays are lined up. But moving the kickoff back to the 30 does nothing for me at all.
Okay.
And because they're kicking it through the damn end zone half the time anyhow.
My thought is that it would be more difficult. You'd have to kick it 80 yards in the air unless you kick it about 76 and the returner's willing to gamble that it's going to hit and bounce through the end zone. But okay. That's fine. It doesn't do anything for you.
No.
That's fine.
But could you move it back further, but have the kicker at the 25, have the rest of the team at the 30 or 35? Because I don't know if there's no way they could run down that far. Kicks would come way out.
So you
have the kicker at a different point on the field. So essentially all the rest of the team would be offside.
Yeah. So what
and that's why it looks visually stupid to me.
So kick it from the 25, but the team can line up at the 35, and obviously no one can move until the ball's in the air.
Right.
And then in theory, I don't know, there'd be a referee who I guess it'd be like, a drag race where, the light in the old days, it used to be somebody with the flags and they'd bring them down and everybody would go. So in theory, like there'd be what? I don't know. Because you might not hear the sound of the foot against the ball.
Right.
I mean, the players would need a cue of some kind of like, okay, you can go. Be like a drag race. Yeah, a little gimmicky, but I'm fine. I'm fine with that. I'm fine with anything to bring the kickoff back. There's nothing I don't think you two could propose. And so our choices were eliminate the fair catch, move the kickoff back 5 yards, move the touchback up 10, which in theory, you now say to the kicker, don't kick it through the end zone.
Right.
I think all 3 would have an effect. I know Mark hates the second option, but I
don't hate this. I do not hate the second option. I don't know if it's enough. I don't know if from the 30-yard line these guys could routinely kick the ball still through the end zone.
I'm with you on that. I think of the 3 options, that one would move the needle the least, but it would still at least do something. Because
I might do all 3 if you want to know the truth.
Take your pick.
Wow.
But like we said at the beginning of the show, what's the statistic? How many percent?
Last year, only 22% of the kickoffs were returned.
And 0 in the Super Bowl that we just lost.
0, zip, zilch. And remember, we had a lot of field goals. We had a lot of kickoffs in the Super Bowl. A lot. Now, granted, that's an indoor stadium, and the ball, really traveled. So it's a little easier in Vegas to kick the ball through the end zone than it is in a lot of other places. But there's no doubt about it that the kickers now are, much bigger legs than they've ever had. And we don't just mean Robert Newhouse thighs, which dates myself, and I don't care.
Not as much as during the break when you were talking about a fax machine, because I don't even know what a fax machine is.
We were talking very quickly.
Oh, my goodness.
My goodness.
You know what's Trent? I thought that when he said it, I thought, does Trent have a clue what David's talking about right now?
I mean, I know what it is. I could not work a fax machine if you put one in front of me right now.
You couldn't work a rotary phone if we put that in front of you, too.
I could get closer with a rotary. I don't think I could work it, but I could get closer with a rotary phone. Fax machine.
All the color just left David's face here in the last 30 seconds.
I mean,
he went white.
I'm only 24. I don't know what a fax machine is. I mean,
is it okay if I get back in the car and go home? Oh my goodness.
Are you okay?
No. This is like when my wife tried to pay for something via check at JCPenney like 5 years ago, and the 17-year-old said, "What is that?"
See, I'm not that far. In third grade, we actually learned how to write checks. It was like a whole thing. I could write a check right now.
But he couldn't fax.
You
know what he could not do? Send his letter of intent into a university.
No.
No.
You do know they have like fax cam, okay? Because that's how you send in your letter of intent via fax, okay? And a lot of these schools have a fax cam. People watch it all day. Ooh, did so-and-so's letter of intent come in? So I love it. So he was instructed on how to do checks, which he didn't need to do. It was kind of like in our day, Mark, we were taught the metric system. Boy, that came in handy. Let's talk NHL trade deadline next, huh?
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further, because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
If you're in love and thinking about a diamond, you'll want to hear from my friends Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
When purchasing a diamond, you deserve a relaxed, stress-free, and educational experience. You want to have a good time and feel comfortable. You want selection, quality, and value.
At the Diamond District, you'll get it all. With our team of non-commissioned diamond advisors, no one's in a rush. We care only about you and making sure your needs and wishes are fulfilled.
You'll be wowed by our selection of GIA certified diamonds, stunning diamond bracelets, earrings, pre-owned Rolex watches, exotic ruby, sapphire, emerald, and tanzanite jewelry. There's something for everyone at the Diamond District, and all at the lowest prices anywhere.
Jason and I love what we do and are in the store nearly every day. We look forward to shaking your hand and welcoming you to our Diamond District family.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
Mark Miller for Molly Maid. Why Molly Maid, you ask? Trust. Moulton was a customer for 15 years. Affordability. Didn't I just say Moulton was a customer for 15 years? Worry-free services. Our professional house cleaners are fully insured and a 24-hour warranty. Call Molly Maids today at 239-774-5839. That's 239-774-5839 or online at mollymaid.com/FTMYERS. That's mollymaid.com/FTMYERS. You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network. I do get the biggest kick, the softball leagues over at San Carlos. They name all the teams college teams. So whoever the coach is basically gets to pick his favorite college, and that's the unis the team wear. So you see all these kids running around. Old Miss, LSU, Notre Dame. Never Florida or Florida State. I get the biggest kick out of it. Because none of the dads are natives.
Right.
We're FGCU this year.
If it were up to you, would you pick green and white, or would you go with a different school for the colors?
I would have gone FGCU. Last year we were the Spartans. I would have never done that because the other coach is a Michigan State grad too. The guy, my buddy of mine.
Gotcha.
I like. Although I'm a little ticked off, they gave our girls black pants for the FGC unis. They look terrible. Should be white pants. It's gross.
Poor execution.
Terrible.
You know, the worst part about your team losing a game like Sparty did on Sunday is sometimes you don't play again for a whole week. They don't play.
They
again
lost.
till Saturday.
They lost right before that to Iowa too.
Right.
Yeah.
But
Wasn't just one.
So we haven't seen them win since. By the time they play their next game, it will be 2 weeks.
Yeah, since the Michigan game, right?
Right. Which was Saturday. And I think we are going to get absolutely smacked by Purdue.
Is it at Purdue?
Yes. We literally never win there. I couldn't tell you the last time Michigan State won at Mackey. In fact, my senior year, we were supposed to go cover the game there. And then there was like a little bit of snow and we were supposed to drive. And we used that as an excuse to not go because we knew they were going to get smacked. We're like, why are we wasting our time with this game?
Last night, Dave McCarthy said, all right, I'm ready to buy the wings now. He goes, I had not been. He goes, but they've impressed me. And I don't think they're going anywhere now.
Offensively, they're playing.
Well, they're one of the best teams in the league offensively.
And then defensively, if Lyon can keep it up.
He's been great.
He has.
The XFL EB Hill kickoff was discussed. What was the other comment that was in there? Yeah, Sergachev might come back late in the playoffs, but obviously, right now they're the 8th seed in the East, so.
Wow, won a grand. Someone's hitting it hard.
Well, I mean, our system play won last night. Our semi-system play did not when Kentucky hit the shot at the buzzer. And then our second favorite play of the year, which is team coming off their biggest win of the year, bet against them the next game. Wake Forest lost at Notre Dame. So it was either a 1-0 night or a 2-1 night.
Did Notre Dame storm the court?
I don't think so.
Okay, Dave's on, and here we go.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network.
22 minutes before the top of the hour, our last segment along the network, the Diamond District bonus hour awaits for those in the 239. We get excited about a trade deadline in any sport. The NHL trade deadline is 9 days away. Dave McCarthy covers the league, NHL.com. He hosts a Sunday brunch on SiriusXM's NHL Radio. He also, covers the Leafs in the league for NHL.com. He's kind enough to join us. Follow Dave on Twix, Twitter/X at Dave A. McCarthy. Dave A. McCarthy. Dave, it's David and Mark. Thanks for waking up for this. How are you?
Oh, I'm good, man. Thanks for having me on.
Well, it is our pleasure. Well, 2/3 of the show are Wings fans, and apparently last night you caught the bug, didn't you?
Well, I'll tell you what, I was a little reluctant to buy in on the Detroit Red Wings. I thought coming into the year there were 3 teams in the Atlantic Division that I thought had a chance to take a step forward: Ottawa, Buffalo, and Detroit. And quite frankly, I had Detroit ranked last among those 3 teams. But look, if I'm wrong, I'll apologize. I think I've appeared to be wrong on this one. I was concerned they didn't have enough elite talent. I thought they just had too many just middling players signed to inflated contracts. But it turns out that what they've done in Detroit is they brought in just a lot of good players. So they don't have, I'm not wrong on this, they don't have elite talent the way Edmonton does with Connor McDavid, or the way, Toronto does with Matthews or Martin, or even the way, Florida does with Matty Tkachuk at times. But they've got a lot of very good players, and they're playing as a team. Derek Lalonde has the group really buying into a system, and they're having success because of it. So I think now 59 games into the year, I'm ready to buy the Red Wings because I do not think they're going anywhere. And if I'm Steve Yzerman, I'm looking to upgrade in advance of the deadline. Not sell the farm or anything like that for rentals, because I don't think they're ready to win a cup yet. But I think the group has earned a little bit of help that might come at a reasonable price. They've been really impressive this year.
What about Tampa? What do they need to do at the deadline? Can they do anything at the deadline? Because they're obviously, Vasilevsky still might be the best goaltender in the world. You've got a Hedman. You've got a Kucherov. You've got a Stamkos. There are a lot of great pieces on this team, but the back end is the depth has left over the years when you have that much success. What can Tampa do at the deadline?
Yeah, it's interesting because I think you got to be careful. I think some years you have to look at your group and say, can we win the Stanley Cup? Not can we make playoffs, but can we win the Stanley Cup? And I don't think they can right now. It's difficult though, because as you mentioned, you just listed off the core, the spine of their team, and it's tough to look those guys in the eye and not give them, every possible piece of help that you can if you're Julien Brisebois. But I don't see them as the same group like they were a few years ago when they were winning Stanley Cups. Their spine is good, but that's really all they have. They don't have that depth. They don't have that third line like they did of Coleman, Goudreau, and Yanni Gord that were so influential. Their back end is really lean, right? Like after Victor Hedman and Eric Chernak, Mikhail Sergachev is hurt. I don't know when he's coming back. Still expect to be a long time. I mean, that's not a blue line you're winning a Stanley Cup with. Even if you go out and get some depth to add to it, still not good enough in my mind. So some years I think you just have to sort of ride with the group that you have and try to recoup some assets with draft picks and not really blowing the future. I shouldn't say recoup, but retain. And I think this might be the year to do it for Tampa Bay. I don't think they're beating Florida in the East. I don't think they're beating the Rangers. I don't think they're beating Carolina the way Toronto's played lately. I picked Toronto ahead of Tampa Bay, and then that's just the East. We're not even talking about the West, that I think is a deeper conference. So I'd be conservative if I was Julien Brisebois this year.
Isn't it such a dangerous time though for a general manager? Because Dave, and we're talking the NHL with Dave McCarthy, who covers the league based out of Toronto, NHL.com. All right, breakfast brunch on Sundays on SiriusXM's NHL Radio. Does a terrific job. Follow him on Twix at Dave A. McCarthy. The Kings won it as an 8 seed. The Panthers got to the finals last year by squeaking in by a point. We've seen what a goalie can do. We've seen what 8 seeds can do. And I mean, when you have a Vasilevsky, when you have a Hedman who, if healthy, can play 30 minutes, Stamkos and Point with Kucherov will find a way to score at least 2 goals a night. It's tough to just go, we can't win this year, right?
It is. You're not wrong. But look, I mean, I think this year in the league, there's not as much parity as we've seen in recent years. I think there's some top teams, and then I think there's some teams that are just going to find a way to squeak into the playoffs, but are not really true legitimate contenders. You look at Florida, you use them as an example, and a good one, but look at that roster. I mean, their D was deep. Like, they had Montour and Ekblad as their 1-2, and each guy was on the ice for, close to half the game. The guy in Radko Gudas, who was just absolutely feared out there and did a really good job just playing hard, right? Defending. Up and down their lineup, they had depth. I think what Florida's issue was last year was they didn't really figure out what type of team they were and how they had to play until like really the very last second when it was that game in Toronto, end of March last year, where Florida was down. And that was the game that Paul Maurice, as he said, shared his feelings with the group during the second period. Didn't curse, but he shared. And they came back, won that game. And I said, about Florida, what we saw last year was not a mirage like, say, Montreal getting in the Cup final in 2021. It took them 76 games to figure out what type of team they were. But they figured it out in the nick of time. And they've committed to continuing to play like that right from game one of the regular season this year. And now we're seeing the results. So I get why you're using this example, but I don't think they were a true 8th seed last year. They certainly didn't come into the year expecting to be an 8th seed. They came into the year expecting to be the team they are this year. Unlike Tampa, where I think really logically you got to look at it and say, yeah, we've got some good players, but you can't win a Stanley Cup with a line and a half, one defenseman and a goalie. Might make the playoffs, can't win a cup. I think that's what you have to look at if you're Tampa Bay.
Well, the Panthers think they can win a cup, and I don't know if they have to make a move to do so. Is there something, Dave, that you think they need to do to put them over the top? Because obviously they're right there with Boston. They beat them a year ago, but you can always make your team better, can't you?
You can, and I agree with you. I think Florida can win a Stanley Cup this year. They're the top team in the Eastern Conference, as far as I'm concerned. Just everything about their team is playoffs, right? They've got 4 lines that can contribute. They've got quality players that can lead the way, and Barkov and Tkachuk and guys like that up front. Their blue line is deep, and they've got Sergei Bobrovsky, who's playing as good as any goalie in the league. You can always make your team better for sure, but I think there are also times when you can do a little bit too much to a group that already has found something. I'd argue last year the Rangers were a quality team. I think they overdid it at the deadline, bringing in Tarasenko, bringing in
Kane.
Patrick Kane, right? And sure, they're good players, but they take up oxygen, right? Guys like that, you defer to them a little bit. All of a sudden, you move somebody else down the lineup. Now you got to reestablish the role that you're in, and there's just not a lot of time left in the year, and you can run out of time. I think that's what happened. Toronto, to an extent, too. They brought in 6 players at the deadline last year. Now, they ended up beating Tampa Bay, but they weren't much of a challenge to the Panthers. And I think there was an element of overdoing it. So Boston, same thing, right? They were pretty active at the deadline last year, despite the fact that they never lost, basically during the regular season. And we saw what happened against your team. So look, if I'm Bill Zito, I'm looking for a depth D-man, like a 4, 5, 6 type of guy. Maybe a middle 6 forward, but nothing that's going to cost an arm and a leg. And quite honestly, not a household name, just a solid quality player that can come in, take on some minutes, be reliable, and add a little depth to the length of the lineup. But I honestly wouldn't go big game hunting if I'm Florida, because I look at the team that you have right now. And, like, whether you go out and you pay a big price and you bring in a Chris Tanev, who's maybe arguably the top D-man available right now, or bring in a bigger name forward. That's all well and good, but ultimately the guys that you have right now are going to be the guys that drag you to a cup. The Barkovs, the Tkachuks, the Montours, the Ekblads. If those guys play to the level of their capabilities, I think that team is good enough to win a cup right now. So that's how I'd approach it. Conservative. If there's a minor tweak to add some depth, I'd do it, but I wouldn't go big game hunting. I think Florida's a good enough team as they are right now And you talk to a lot of general managers, they say, I like to build my team in the off season. Tweak if you can at the deadline, but don't try to sort of retrofit your team with shiny new objects. And oftentimes, if you look back at the chronology of Stanley Cup champions over the last number of years, the moves that they've made have been the types of moves that I'm talking about for Florida. Those depth guys, just a solid player that can come in and play a role. But, it's not the household name that everybody's clamoring over that comes in, makes a difference, and suddenly you point to that guy and say, well, that's the reason why we won the Stanley Cup. No, if you win a cup, it's because of the team that you've already built in the offseason.
He's Dave McCarthy, NHL.com, NHL Network, SiriusXM's NHL Radio. Follow him on Twix, Twitter/X at Dave A. McCarthy. Dave A. McCarthy. Dave, thanks for making time for us. We appreciate it. Safe travels, and hopefully we can talk again before the playoffs.
Absolutely. Great being on with you, boys. Thanks.
Dave McCarthy. And he called us boys.
It's a hockey interview, David.
Right. I know.
Good being on with you, boys.
He's a Canadian.
Right.
Okay.
What do you want?
He called us boys. I'm just saying.
He's going to do himself. He's going to get up. He's going to grab a Tim Hortons, and he's going to move on with his day.
For as much as I was horrified 20 minutes ago from Trent not knowing what a fax machine was, that's how happy inside I am right there with Dave calling us boys.
Hockey terminology is the best. Hockey slang, if you will.
But he's right about the Panthers. I mean, I know they could move up. The guy that I've seen possibly that they move is their and he's in the A, the goaltender. They were high on Knight.
Right, who had some troubles off the ice last year, and now they seem as if they've kind of replaced him with a younger goalie, and obviously they have Bob, who's under contract for 13 more years. So, right, they could maybe move him. But, and who are you getting, though? You getting an extra defenseman? Like the Capitals, who used to make big deals at the deadline. The year they won the Cup, you know what they went out and did? They got a third-line left defenseman. That was the only move they made at the deadline. The guy played huge minutes for him in the playoffs. A move like that is what Dave's referring to.
He's probably so happy that he went through a whole interview and then did not talk about the Leafs.
Yes. We did that on purpose. He covers the Leafs. I think
Right.
The last thing he wants to do is talk about the Leafs. Besides, what more is there to say? It's kind of like talking about the Cowboys. Well, we'll see in the playoffs. They got to win some games.
I was going to say the last thing we want to do is talk about the Leafs.
Fans are everywhere, though.
But they're fans at the same way. They don't even care until they get to the postseason.
Right. And right now they're in third.
Barely.
And they'd play Boston. But right now it'd be Florida and Tampa Bay in the first round with all the pressure on the Panthers. Oh, that'd be great.
And Toronto and Boston.
I know. Yep. Mm-hmm.
It's shaping up, and it's getting hot. And in 9 days, we got the deadline. Only going to get hotter.
And be my Rangers against your guys' Wings, too.
That would be great.
Be the first round. It wouldn't be good for the Rangers. All right.
It'd be great for the show.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Yeah. Yeah, just like Rangers Devils was great for the show last year. It's only great for the show if the Rangers win. For where I'm looking at it.
Depends what chair you're sitting in,
Exactly.
David. Along the network, we thank you so much for listening. We'll be back tomorrow morning at 6 in the 239. The Diamond District Bonus Hour is next.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung specializes in criminal defense, DUI, personal injury, nursing home claims, and auto accidents. I'm a former prosecutor with over 34 years of experience. The information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, time is of the essence to maintain your driving privileges. Call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung for a free consultation. At the law firm of Michael F. Hornung, we are committed to excellence in your representation. Being a local attorney with local knowledge is clutch to the success of your case. For over 30 years, we have successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Our offices are conveniently located in Fort Myers. Visit online at mfh-law.com.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6 and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
Hi, I'm Jason.
And I'm Todd with the Diamond District. I believe in complete transparency. If you're shopping for diamonds in Naples, you're paying too much. If you're shopping in the Cape or Fort Myers, you also won't see the selection you deserve to have. If you're online, there's no human connection, and you won't know if your diamond is beautiful or not until it shows up in the mail.
Just because it's GIA certified doesn't mean it's brilliant. There's so much more to a diamond than its cut, color, and clarity that makes it beautiful. Visit us at the Diamond District for a non-commissioned and educational presentation and quit paying more in Naples or buying blind from the internet. The Diamond District has the rarest diamonds from half carat to 10 carats. You won't find a bigger selection or better value.
And you won't find a better buying experience. Jason and I are in the store nearly every day, and we look forward to shaking your hand and welcoming you to our Diamond District family.
At the Diamond District.
Mark Miller for Molly Maid. Why Molly Maid, you ask? Trust. Moulton was a customer for 15 years. Affordability. Didn't I just say Moulton was a customer for 15 years? Worry-free services. Our professional house cleaners are fully insured and a 24-hour warranty. Call Molly Maids today at 239-774-5839. That's 239-774-5839 or online at mollymaid.com/FTMYERS. That's mollymaid.com/FTMYERS. We're listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
As well it should be. And just like when they bring in Tays.
Yeah.
And they finally, and, they'll put Kane's number up because it was on Chelios's night. And so then they started talking about, so how much of this run, how many of those guys are going to have their, because obviously Tays and Kane are going up in the rafters, but do you do Keith? Do you do, who was the other defenseman?
Oh, no.
Seabrook,
No.
something like that.
I know what you're talking about, but I don't think so.
But Duncan Keith.
Good chance.
Right. So, that would be 3.
Jesus. Oh, you didn't see. It's a Facebook. Cape High evacuated. 40-year-old dude in camo told student he has a bomb. All students are safe. Searching for suspect with chopper. Oh, wonderful.
No, RCB Lightning aren't going to be scared of anybody, and they can beat anybody in a series. The depth needed usually, the Panthers were walking wounded by the finals last year. Yeah, Tampa Bay right now. Man, how good would that first round be in the East? Golly.
I mean, no offense if you get the Devils in to replace the Flyers. Give me Carolina, New Jersey. I'd rather see that than Carolina, Philly.
Yeah, the NHL want to see Philly because Carolina doesn't rate.
And neither does New Jersey.
Right.
But I don't know, though. They'd rather have the Hugheses in there than Philly.
I mean, right now, a first-round series out west is Dallas, Colorado. Because Winnipeg would play Nashville. So it'd be, Vancouver, Nashville, Winnipeg and the Kings, Vegas and the Oilers, by the way. So the conference final out west last year, right? Wasn't that Vegas, Edmonton last year?
Mm-hmm.
So the conference final last year would be a first-round series this year. I'm hoping, here's the problem, though. If the Devils catch the Flyers, will it knock out the Lightning?
I don't think so, because I think in order for that to happen, Philly's going to have to fall apart, if you know what I mean.
Which, don't you have a wager on that?
I do.
You have the Devils to make it and Philly to miss.
Correct. The Devils are doing me no favors.
Devils are 5 points back with a game in hand.
Jeez.
I will say they have
20 games left.
They have the tiebreaker,
Yeah.
though. They've got 2 more regulation wins.
Well, Mark,
Three
you
more
probably
than-
got pretty good value.
three
on
more
that
than-
too, right?
It wasn't great.
You just had a feeling, huh?
It's my kid's bets, his $10. He's like,
Oh,
make
nice.
these bets for me. All right.
By the way, how about the Penguins? 5 games out of the playoffs, 5 games in hand. Or I should say, 7 points out of the playoffs, 5 games in hand.
Who's that?
Penguins.
A rough spot to be in.
They've only played 56 games. Lightning have played 61.
Here we go.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Diamond District bonus hour on this hump day. Miller and Moulton along with Trent. We're all in the same studio together, which doesn't happen very often. I'm back in the 239 for a couple days, which is nice. There's a lot that I miss. Not going to lie.
It's fun having you here.
He says that. It's so funny. All right, Mark.
He's sick of me already. He likes it when you're here.
Mark and I know each other pretty well. At like 5:41, when Mark walked in the door, he was kind of like, hey, yeah, okay. By about 5:53, he was kind of like, how long is he going to be here again? All right. And then sometime during the 6 o'clock hour, he's like, I don't know if he needs to stick around for the bonus hour. I mean, he's got a doctor appointment. Maybe we can get him out of here a little early.
Counting the hours.
Yeah. So, tomorrow it'll be like, so when are you leaving? After the show. Oh, okay. All right.
Safe travels.
Exactly.
But it's fun.
Although I thought we were grabbing food after the show tomorrow.
Well, it's going to have to be quick. I scheduled a hair appointment. I have to get this cut.
Well, it is kind of bushy. It is.
It's
out
on its
there.
own right now.
It is.
Will that be your first one since the holidays?
I despise getting haircuts.
Really?
I get my hair cut once a week.
Really?
Yeah.
Why?
It's expensive.
No, man. Supercut, $17. What are you talking about?
You get what you pay for.
I have good hair. I have a good salad.
You have great hair.
Right.
Doesn't mean you always get great haircuts.
Oh, no. Very often I don't. I get what I pay for. But I have a good salad. I have a good salad.
I'm in total agreement. I don't. I do not have the great salad. So
here's my thought. The salad, my hair is basically the lettuce. How bad can the salad be if you got good lettuce? That's my point. To me, the cut is everything else. It's if you're going Caesar, if you're going this or that. Okay. But if you got good lettuce, how bad can the salad be?
Well, I just go high and tight. Hard to mess that up.
Do you even go somewhere to get your hair cut, or you just pull out the clippers and shave your head?
Last night I did it myself.
Unreal.
But not every time. I like the process sometimes.
You like talking to the...
Yes.
Of
I
course
love
you
it.
do. You're 24.
But again, it's one of those situations where if I get the sense that they're not into it, I just back off. But I'll talk to you the whole time.
Yes, you will. Yes, you will. He's the middle seat on the
You
flight
should,
guy.
You should try to date a hairdresser once. That's fun.
I'll get back to you on that one.
Okay.
So, all right. I mean, it's fine. I mean, it's not like we need to, break bread together. I mean, we did it for 20 years.
Trust me, we can run to the gas station, knock down about 10 tacos,
done.
and I can get my hair cut.
Go to the salon. So we're going to the gas station for food, and then I'm going to the salon. We have to make this quick. All right, I got it. Listen, but I could tell your hair was long. My mom commented on your hair yesterday because, she takes us in on Twitch. She puts us on the TV, for goodness sake, so she can continue to lay in bed.
And so then not only is she upset about the hair, but you and I are not shave every day guys.
Oh, please don't.
And that that bothers her.
Well,
I mean, because she's of a certain age, where her generation was a clean cut generation,
right?
And it's like brushing your teeth. It was part of the process.
Yes,
and so plus her father shaved every day, so she's used to, there's the man in her life, so she thinks that's how it should be. So she loved it when I was in television. I shaved all the time. Hell, sometimes I'd shave in between shows. All right. But now, as I've told her for 20 years, Mom, I'm doing radio now. She goes, no, you're not. You're on Twitch. I go, that's not really television.
We're doing radio.
Yeah.
And in today's world, if you've seen a television recently, nobody shaves anymore.
I know. Like it was 2 or 3 years ago, Joe Buck did a game with like 2 days growth. And I even said to him, I go, are you shaving before the game? And he said, and he looked at me like, no, you jerk. No.
No.
And I just looked at him like, you look scruffy. And he goes, well, that's the look I'm going for. And I go, why? And then I'm thinking, if I continue that, I could lose this gig. In about 2 more sentences, I could lose this gig. So how about if we just go, oh, no, but it looks good on you, though. And then you roll your eyes and walk away. But yeah, no, I know.
Well, you might not shave, but you put in the work. I mean, David always has the lighting going on. He rearranges things. He soundproofs the room with pillows. I mean, it's not like you just made
at a hotel. At a hotel. I really don't want that knock on the door when I'm on the road doing the show. Think about how angry you'd be. You're trying to get some sleep, and some yahoo like me is talking loudly in the room next to you. And, sometimes I'm on, Monday Night Football's dime. That's a 5-star hotel. Imagine being bothered by the guy next to you in a 5-star hotel.
Thrown out, how the heck are you at 3 a.m. Pacific?
Never mind. Right. We're in town for the Rams at SoFi. Right. And it's a Monday morning after so-and-so's flown in and has gone at it hard for a weekend. Right. Closed down the hotel bar 3 hours ago. Right.
And the guy next door is chomping at the bit to talk about.
The heck are you? This is a great Monday, Miller Moulton. Yeah. Uh-huh. Yeah.
This is like the Radio Row thing at the Super Bowl.
I mean, that's, and I assume everybody has a gun nowadays. So, I'm just waiting for the guy to knock on the door. You have, sorry. And, that'll shut him up. I'll go back to sleep. All right. I mean, not because I have the thing on the door that says, basically the maid service,
Right. Do not disturb ever.
Yeah. I mean, I almost like take a pen and write on the bottom, this includes a fire, just leave me alone. Right. So if somebody's knocking on my door, I'm thinking it's because.
And you don't unpack in hotel rooms either, do you?
No,
you live out of the suitcase.
I just open the suitcase. Right.
I'm the same way. I don't unpack.
I did unpack when I did golf because we were there for a week. So I would unpack and hang stuff up, but no, otherwise I'm usually 48 hours.
I was always a suitcase guy. And then Greg Gunn, the longtime director and producer that I had when I worked in hockey, he's like, no. He'd been doing it a while. He did the Braves games. And he's like, no, man. If you're in hotels this much, it's home. And if you treat it like it's a hotel room, it's a hotel room. If you unpack and clean up, it'll be a better stay. And so I've always been an unpack guy in hotels.
All right. I may try it. Not this trip, though. Miller and Moulton on this hump day. Our poll question involves the kickoff in the NFL because apparently behind the scenes, Roger Goodell watched the Super Bowl and went, there wasn't a kickoff return. It's kind of boring. I mean, think about it. Between the, kickoff at each half, how many field goals did we have in that game? I mean, I had a bunch of field goals.
800.
I mean, the Chiefs only scored 2 touchdowns, and the second one was the last play of the game. So didn't the Chiefs kick 4 field goals? I mean, did each team have 4 field goals? Each team had 3, I think. I mean, we had a lot of kickoffs in that game. I think there were 10 kickoffs in the game. We didn't have a single return. Now, once again, the game goes overtime, and it nearly went to double OT, and so it was kind of like the Super Bowl the year before, which got decided essentially on the last play of the game. And even though there were certain warts about the game, we overlooked it because the game was just too good.
San Fran in the fourth quarter and overtime kicked 4 field
Yeah,
goals.
7 field goals total in the game.
Okay. So, and then, you throw in the touchdowns and then a kickoff at each half. You might have had 12 kickoffs in this game. Not a single return.
Right. So how would you best adjust the kickoff? Eliminate the fair catch, move the kickoff back to the 30, or move the touchback up to the 35?
And you said, to be honest with you, you would have put a D, all of the above.
Yes.
That if you're the NFL right now, you'd say, okay, here's the deal. No fair catch. And so that guarantees a return if it's in play. You're penalizing the kicker for kicking it through the end zone because we're going to move it to the 35. Okay. Sorry, that's not too far away from scoring right away. And then the other one is instead of kicking off from the 35, we're going to push it back 5 yards, kick off from the 30, which, you got to boot it 80 yards to kick it through the end zone.
I think the trickle-down effect of this, if they did something, would be very fascinating because the position would become way more valuable. So in camp, you would probably be hearing about some kicking battles, which you never really hear about, and then they'd probably get paid more because it's way more important. There's way more pressure on the kicker if you were to do something like Mark's talking about and put all 3 of those things in. It would change the position.
There was a time when teams would have 3 kickers, if you will. They'd have a kicker and a punter, and then they kept somebody around who had a big leg. And they would handle kickoffs, and then maybe they were the kicker who, if it was a 50-plus yard field goal, they'd send that guy out, and he also had done a little punting earlier in his life. So if something happened to the punter, he could, get the horse in the barn, so to speak, couple of 40-yard punts. And
a lot of colleges still do that.
Right,
they've got
which they can.
Right, because they've got 90 guys on the roster.
Right, and they don't even have to spend a scholarship on the kicker, so they can do that. Like a guy I remember 30 years ago, Brad DeLuiso was that guy. He was not super accurate, super big leg. And so the teams he played on a lot of times, he would be essentially the kickoff guy and the long field goal guy. Now
but now the legs are good enough where these guys all have a strong enough leg that wouldn't happen. But when you hear the coaches say we were great in all 3 phases, no, you weren't. Might have been great in 2. The 3rd phase didn't play. It would be nice that when actually a coach said that there was something to the 3 phases of the game, that special teams. We'll have to get Westhoff on here in the next few weeks and see if we can't get Mike to talk about this.
How about if you reach out to him, in all honesty, because I've tried a couple times, and when he's been employed by teams, he has been tougher to get a hold of for the obvious reason, and probably the organization's kind of like, don't give interviews. You're pretty open, you're pretty honest, and it just so. But now during the off season, maybe there's a chance we could talk to him. Would love to talk to him about this because he has campaigned for this. We had him on the show a few years ago when he was campaigning for this. There's a way to keep it in the game and not take it out. And he was really dismayed that they essentially were going towards taking it out. Only 22% of kickoffs got returned last year. 22%.
And to repeat something David said in the first hour that I think is really important here, the Devin Hester thing. Devin Hester getting inducted into the Hall of Fame, and now with these rules, we're never going to see another return man get in.
Never.
Because we don't get them. We don't get returns.
Right. Hester did both. Wasn't just a punt returner, wasn't just a kickoff returner. And, quite frankly, with the way it is now, will we ever see a kickoff return for a touchdown in the Super Bowl?
Maybe. Not with the current rules.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
If you're in love and thinking about a diamond, you'll want to hear from my friends Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
When purchasing a diamond, you deserve a relaxed, stress-free, and educational experience. You want to have a good time and feel comfortable. You want selection, quality, and value.
At the Diamond District, you'll get it all. With our team of non-commissioned diamond advisors, no one's in a rush. We care only about you and making sure your needs and wishes are fulfilled.
You'll be wowed by our selection of GIA certified diamonds, stunning diamond bracelets, earrings, pre-owned Rolex watches, exotic ruby, sapphire, emerald, and tanzanite jewelry. There's something for everyone at the Diamond District. and all at the lowest prices anywhere.
Jason and I love what we do and are in the store nearly every day. We look forward to shaking your hand and welcoming you to our Diamond District family.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
Mark Miller for Molly Maid. Why Molly Maid, you ask? Trust. Moulton was a customer for 15 years. Affordability. Didn't I just say Moulton was a customer for 15 years? Worry-free services. Our professional house cleaners are fully insured and a 24-hour warranty. Call Molly Maids today at 239-774-5839. That's 239-774-5839 or online at mollymaid.com/FTMYERS. That's mollymaid.com/FTMYERS.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further, because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network. All right. Yeah, well, Stephen Jones made his comments that he kind of wants to bring the kickoff back, and we're like, we got to reach out to Mike and see if he'd come on the show here in the next week or so to discuss.
Awesome.
I love him. 838 Mike Westhoff.
There you go. That's done.
Nice.
Do you know who he is?
Haven't we had him on once?
Yeah, he's
since I've been here?
not since you've been here.
No?
No, he is the special teams coordinator, or was for the Broncos last year. He was the Jets special teams coordinator when he became a star on Hard Knocks because he cursed like a sailor.
Okay, I would probably know who he is then. I just have to refresh myself. That'll be a great conversation.
He's the best. Here, turn that off for a second.
Mike Westhoff is the only guy who can write a tell-all book and have it be more boring than if you did a live interview with him. Okay. Mike
That's
is
a great way to put it.
awesome.
All right. Well, I'm looking forward to that.
If you look up Westhoff Hard Knocks Jets.
Oh my goodness. It'll probably just be a series.
Yeah,
you will laugh out loud. You got to admit that Rex Ryan Jets Hard Knocks. I mean, between Rex and Westhoff, I mean, that was just gold.
My buddy that's flying down for the member guest is 76 and sunny yesterday, 28 and snowing today.
Chicago?
Grand Rapids.
Okay.
Yeah.
Trent's hometown.
Everyone was in a tizzy yesterday. They were loving it. Outside. This is amazing.
Yeah, he was hitting balls. He said he went to the driving range yesterday.
Yeah, I had buddies that went golfing.
Boy, I didn't realize Utah State hit a 3 to force overtime. Oh my goodness.
Yeah. That would have been a good one.
What a night of buzzer beaters, for crying out loud.
Yeah.
Welcome to the bonus hour, brought to you by Jason and Todd at the Diamond District. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
21 minutes past the hour. The Diamond District bonus hour, Miller and Moulton. Thanks so much for listening. You know, I just noticed something. And usually we don't go down this road, but so would a soccer friendly between Brazil and the U.S. interest you? Because tickets go on sale Friday, and apparently Brazil has agreed to play the U.S. men's national team in Orlando in June.
Yeah, that would interest me.
I mean, how often do we get a chance to see Brazil? This just in, they're pretty good at that sport.
I would be interested. It was funny last night. The daughter had soccer, and I don't pay any attention to the practice. The soccer is me and two dads or three dads having an hour and 30-minute conversation about whatever.
Okay.
And the World Cup came up. And, you know, you and I have been, hey, we've got to figure out a way to go. And here are two dads. Obviously, their daughters play soccer. One of them sons play soccer. And the dad who has a son and daughter playing soccer, it's like, oh, we've got to figure out a way to go. And if it's not Miami, he's from Nebraska. He goes, I'll fly to Kansas City for a game. There's just no way. How do you miss that bucket list item when it's here and given the opportunity? But Brazil, U.S. in a friendly?
In a friendly. I mean, granted, it's a friendly and, you know, have no idea who's going to send who to play and all that. But, I mean, it's in the state.
You could argue that would make it more enjoyable because it's low stakes. You get to go just watch some really good players play some soccer.
Well, and I think anytime Brazil plays anywhere,
right,
they'll travel.
So
you'd have that atmosphere. And like you and I have talked about, our goal with the World Cup when it's here, seeing the U.S. is about 45th on my bucket list.
Did you see where the group play is for that? It's all on the West Coast, unfortunately. I think they do.
Yeah, but Miami's got games.
Yeah, we don't want to see the U.S.
I couldn't care less to see the U.S. play in the World Cup. I would much rather see a South American country. I would much rather see Italy. I would. It's not that I'm not American and don't want our squad to do well and win, but I want someone with a century of soccer history. I want to see their fan base. I want to see the way they live and breathe it. That's more interesting to me.
I want to be the newbie. I want to be the tourist that goes to New York for the first time and is just staring up at the skyscrapers and mouth agape. Okay. And you got people in New York going, yeah, don't do that because those that want to pickpocket you will know that you're there. So just fake it. Make it go along the side. Lean up against the building to look up. Don't do it while walking down Fifth Avenue. I'm just telling you. But
so there's a new documentary on the Four Falls of Buffalo. Right. On the teams that they didn't. I just happened to be watching the previews of it. And Jim Kelly talking about playing with the Gamblers and not wanting to go to Buffalo. And Thurman Thomas talking about being drafted by Buffalo and going, yeah, it's great. I'm going to go to Knicks games. I'm going to go to this. And I get off the plane. Where are all the buildings at?
That's a great 30 for 30.
Well, the story how Jim Kelly originally got away from Buffalo is amazing.
Yes.
He's in the general manager's office with the Bills, and Pat's buddy, who ran the Commanders here lately, and was also, I think, with Gruden with the Bucks. All right, he is running the Houston Gamblers, I think, or of the USFL, and he calls the Bills offices, gets the secretary to the general manager and says, yeah, is Jim Kelly there? And she goes, well, he's in a meeting. And he goes, it's really important. He needs to take this call. She goes into the meeting. Kelly is about to sign with the Bills and says, Jim, there's a phone call for you. The guy says it's important. Jim walks out, takes the phone call, and it's Bruce Allen. And Bruce says, have you signed yet? He goes, no, don't. I'll offer you twice as much money. Go back, say whatever you got to say. Okay, so you're going to go back to the hotel. You're going to think about it, talk it over with what have you. So Jim goes back in, totally makes up a story, all right, leaves, gets on a plane, goes to Houston.
And it's something that even if there were a USFL today that was in the competing league couldn't happen because your salary in the NFL is what it is.
Right. Yes.
Back then they were negotiating what the salary, what the signing bonus was. All of those things were negotiated parts of a deal, whereas now here's the deal.
And so that's why, and Kelly left for a couple of years and he still wasn't all that crazy about going to Buffalo.
Well, that's the interviews they show an interview there where Kelly's getting interviewed by the local Houston TV guy. And he's like, well, come on, look at it out here. Where would you be, Houston or Buffalo?
Right.
I'm going to play here for a long time.
Look at this offense that I'm playing in, because he was playing in the run and shoot, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but I just wanted to mention that soccer, obviously a lot of fans out there. And if, you're interested, go online Friday. Usually most everything goes on sale at 10 a.m., but make sure you check it out. Friday, USA, Brazil, a friendly in June in Orlando. Check it out if you're interested.
I am.
Okay. So if you need to leave the show, I understand. Okay. Or if you just need to stop talking, you're online and I look at you and you're looking at me like, I'm just giving them my credit card info, Moulton. Keep Phil. But I would pay, like some of these concerts nowadays, to scalp tickets and what have you. I mean, you can pay over $1,000 to get into a Taylor Swift, a Springsteen. I mean, I would pay that for a World Cup. I really would. I'd pay $1,000 to go to spend 4+ hours and take all that in, because I would want to be there. I'd want to be in the parking lot. Take it in.
It's a really big deal to host the World Cup.
I mean, you could paint my face for a World Cup. I mean, you'd have to, when I'm walking the parking lot, you'd have to give me some food and drink. But if you give me the right food and drink, I'd let you paint my face and I'll root for your team.
I had nearly worked out with my hairdresser to do Trent's hair blue during the Lions playoffs, and she backed out on me. Her stepdad's a friend of mine, was trying to, get her some business, trying to help her out, saying, how about a couple of blue streaks? We don't have to do the whole thing blue. And she's like, I don't want to deal. She works at a salon. And what does she need?
Right.
She wants more male customers? No, she wants.
Right. Yeah, but we pay.
Exactly.
I would have done it. I 100% would have done it if they would have made the Super Bowl.
I was negotiating that you would do it.
Yeah, no brainer. I would totally do it.
Women shop, men buy. No, seriously. Women shop, men don't shop.
Women don't buy. That's funny.
I didn't say they don't buy, but I mean, when they walk, women will shop. They will browse. They will sample. Guys,
we don't waste your time.
We're walking in to spend money. We're walking in to ask questions. Can you help me? I need this. Yeah, right over here. Great. Okay. Hey, which one would you like? That done. Wrap it up. Okay. Here you go.
Bada boom, bada bing.
Yeah. Come on. I got a game. Let's go. I got to go get flowers from Publix. I'm really romantic. Let's go.
Hey,
we're so close.
They last a long time. Do not knock a Publix flower gift.
I'm not.
Bailed me out more than once, and will do it again.
They've killed many a local florist. All right, they have.
21,000, the text line. You miss any of the show, floridasportsnetwork.com is where you can download it. Pretty solid show today. Pat Kirwan joined us, Seth Everett, and Dave McCarthy talking some hockey on the show earlier today.
Our poll question, Stephen Jones wants to bring the kickoff back to the NFL. We give 3 alternatives.
Eliminate the fair catch, move the kickoff back to the 30, or move the touchback to the 35. Right now, moving the kickoff back has the majority of the votes with 58% of the vote.
Do you think that's the most likely? Like, how do you think they're going to go about this if they decide to do it?
I think it will be a combo. I think they will move the kickoff back 5 yards, and I think they will do something about the guys, not getting a running start, and a combination of the XFL that, they may bring the return teams guys up to like the 30 or 40. And I think it'll be a combo. We want to bring the play back. We want to make it as safe as possible.
Which is an impossibility, but they're going to figure out a way to lie to us and say that they've actually done the studies to make the play safer when in fact it isn't.
They've done the studies. That's hysterical. I know.
That's the BS they give us.
You're right. I didn't say you were wrong. I just said you were hysterical.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further, because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
Mark Miller for Molly Maid. Why Molly Maid, you ask? Trust. Moulton was a customer for 15 years. Affordability. Didn't I just say Moulton was a customer for 15 years? Worry-free services. Our professional house cleaners are fully insured and a 24-hour warranty. Call Molly Maids today at 239-774-5839. That's 239-774-5839 or online at mollymaid.com/FTMYERS. That's mollymaid.com/FTMYERS.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung specializes in criminal defense, DUI, personal injury, nursing home claims, and auto accidents. I'm a former prosecutor with over 34 years of experience. The information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, time is of the essence to maintain your driving privileges. Call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung for a free consultation. At the law firm of Michael F. Hornung, we are committed to excellence in your representation. Being a local attorney with local knowledge is clutch to the experience. For over 30 years, we have successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Our offices are conveniently located in Fort Myers. Visit online at mfh-law.com.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network. I thought it was just Cape Coral High School. Or they locked down everything in the Cape. Yeah, just Cape Coral High School. Oh, really? I'm just seeing Cape Coral High School on the NBC page, but
Listen to Ace Frehley's
Okay.
album again yesterday. Liked it just as much.
that's fantastic.
Liked it just as much as the
He's-
first time. It's good.
All right. First off, Trent, I care for you a great deal. I really do. He's 72 years old. But you list Motley Crue as your favorite band. So your musical references and your taste in music mean nothing to me. Nothing.
That's fair.
And I like Motley Crue.
That's more than fair.
I like Motley Crue. But when someone says the Crue's their favorite band, it's like my wife with Bon Jovi. Okay.
It's number one for me. Favorite artist ever, though, is Prince. So we got the two.
A lot of points back for that one.
We got a two, ends of the spectrum.
Boy, they have just locked on to this Merrill Hodge saying that he's not extremely athletic comment, and they're just pounding
Hodge.
It's because his track record is money.
Well, they're pounding Hodge, though.
Oh, they are. Okay. I thought it was the other way around.
Yep. I've never put any color in this. This is all mine, Ed.
Paula, enjoy Lakeland. I'm going on Friday after the show.
What does Hard Rock have Bama Ole Miss? Because I saw it at 6.5, and now I see it at 5.5.
I think I got it. I already bet it. My bets. 6.5.
Okay. So we got we got 2.5 plays tonight.
We got three. Yeah, we got. Well, the one play we made was.
Well, besides A-Sun.
Yeah. We have 2 plays besides our A-Sun play. Now there's other games that apply, but
here we go.
Welcome to the bonus hour, brought to you by Jason and Todd at the Diamond District. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
22 minutes till the top of the hour, 16 until we're out of here. The Hump Day edition of Miller and Moulton, the Diamond District bonus hour. Thanks for being with us. Mike Westhoff will join us tomorrow. We'll continue our discussion about the kickoff, how best to bring it back. One of the best special teams coaches ever. Still active in the league. He was with the Broncos last year. We'll see if he's with the Broncos again this year. He's year to year at this point.
Yes, he is.
If he feels like it, okay. If not, hang out in Florida. Life's pretty good there.
It is amazing for all the coaches that are out there that are, dying to get back in and he can't coach enough and wanting that next job that he's like,
yeah,
maybe.
But he's fond of Sean Payton. Remember, he was retired. He was done. He had he needed a hip and a knee, and he got that taken care of, and he was done. And one of Payton's final seasons with the Saints, he called him up and said, yeah, I need you. And it was like November. And Mike's like, no, I need you like yesterday. No, get here. I need you. And because it was Sean Payton, Westhoff did it.
Broncos offense was in the 30s. The league defense was in the mid-20s. Special teams was 4th or 5th.
Yeah. He doesn't know what he's doing.
Not at all.
So since he doesn't know what he's doing, we'll have him on the show tomorrow.
It's time for someone to take back this segment, if for no other reason than to stop David from talking about Meghan and Harry. Here's Mark Miller with Today Was the Day When.
1854 we start today, David. The Republican Party was formally organized in Wisconsin.
Wisconsin, huh?
They
All right. So they're 170? So the party's 170 years old?
Yep.
Which, by the way, doesn't disqualify you to run for president.
Not at all.
Yeah.
First televised basketball game was today in 1940. Pitt beat Fordham 50-37. 1960, it was yesterday in Squaw Valley that the USA team beat the Russians. It was today they won the gold by beating Czechoslovakia 9-4 for the first gold medal for the U.S. in hockey. 1971, the PGA Championship. Nicklaus goes wire to wire.
Now think about that. The PGA was held in late February 1971. Why? It was in Florida.
It was in Florida.
Wasn't it Palm Beach Gardens?
Yeah.
They had it. One of the reasons why we haven't had a major in this state is because think about when the golf majors take place after the Masters. That's why I wonder, and we wondered, when they moved the PGA from August to May, we wondered, will that bring Florida back into play? Yeah, it's warm, I know, but it's not U.S. Open.
It's not rainy yet. I mean, that's the biggest thing. You're not in rainy season yet.
Right. But also they have U.S. Opens in Tulsa in June. So you can't, I think, disqualify some of the courses in Florida in May. Same like Texas. Like I think the PGA in a couple years has a PGA in Texas. I don't think Texas has hosted a major since the late 60s or early 70s. It's all been because of the calendar.
Two things happened in 1983 today that are both significant. Neither have anything to do with sports. The final episode of MASH aired today in 1983.
Did anybody watch?
125 million people watched.
Huh. How about that?
And U2 released the album War, which would start them on their way.
Oofta.
The Gulf War ended today in 91. And
hello, we only started it like 4 days ago.
Right. And the FBI raided the Branch Davidian complex in Waco, Texas today in 93.
Huh. Okay.
Barney Siegel, Hayden Fry, Peter Alice, Brian Jones from the Rolling Stones, Frank Bonner, who was Herb Tarlick on WKRP. That's really just for David and I. Bubba Smith and Gilbert Godfrey all born today.
Man, that's quite a list who are no longer with us.
Mario Andretti's 84.
Looks great, too. Talk about a salad. Mario salad is unbelievable. I worked in Scranton Wilkes-Barre, and so the Poconos, and he was still racing and all that, and they had an IndyCar race at Pocono every year, and so we actually came into contact with each other a few times of the year. I got to be friendly enough with him one time in which I just commented, in which I said, man, you got great hair. Told Mario Andretti he's got great hair.
His response?
Okay, his response was he smiled and he said, my wife thinks so too.
Actress Bernadette Peters is 76 today. Eric Lindros is 51. Jason Aldean is 47. And Luca is 25.
That's it?
That's it.
Imagine when he gets in shape. All right, I got two things for you. This was a thing back in our day. You remember baseball, the drug trials?
Yeah.
Mid-'80s,
yep.
Basketball was having its cocaine problem, and then they found out, hey, you're not going to believe this, but baseball players do cocaine too. And so they went on trial late in the 85 season. I remember the Mets were in a pennant race, and all of a sudden, don't know if Hernandez is going to be available tomorrow. He's got to testify in Pittsburgh. Oh, okay. Hernandez said, by the way, 40% of the league was doing cocaine.
Yes.
Well, I don't know if it's his opinion. Don't know if it's true, but apparently the Pirates mascot was like distributing the cocaine. That's one of the things that came out of the drug trials in 85. But today was the day in 86 where Commissioner Uberroth suspended a bunch of players, including Dave Parker and Keith Hernandez. And there are people that believe that this is the reason why Parker and Hernandez, who both had around 2,700 hits, most people during that era thought that's a Hall of Famer. I mean, Hernandez, 2,700 hits, two-time world champion, co-MVP of the league with Stargell, and the greatest defensive first baseman of all time, and never got serious consideration for the Hall of Fame. And Dave Parker, you and I both, when we were growing up, Dave Parker was a Hall of Famer.
Absolutely.
When you watched him, you went, that just like Dale Murphy, that was a Hall of Famer. Parker never got serious consideration for a Hall of Fame. A lot of people believe it was because Uberoth suspended them both for the Pittsburgh drug trials today in '86. Pope Benedict resigned 11 years ago today. Popes don't normally
That's the
resign.
only one that had done it since like the
1600s or something.
Right.
And he literally said, I'm 85. I'm too old. And he lived for like almost 10 more years. He died on New Year's Eve in 2022 at 95.
So he thought he was too old for the job, huh?
At 85, he said, I'm too old. It's too tiring.
Be nice if our guys could take a little.
To be Pope.
Right.
What do you do? I mean, talk about being able to,
delegate?
Yeah.
You only got to answer to one person.
Right.
I'm about to get in trouble.
We should probably
play the music.
You've heard folks elsewhere mock Florida is gonna Florida. Well, Mark Miller sees it differently. He calls it the good, the bad, and the ugly. What you got, Mark?
Only answers to one person, huh?
Uh-huh.
Pretty good one. That's good.
We go underwater for the good. We're Valentina Cafola broke a world record swimming under the ice. She free dove a distance of 459 feet under the ice, breaking the record of Japanese athlete Yasuto Ozeki, who did it for 413 feet. For the bad, we go to California.
I mean, we have a tape ruler. I mean, are we sure we got that right?
I'm sorry. Actually, we go to North Carolina. For some reason, I thought we were in California when I read this story, but we're in North Carolina, where residents have been warned about bears because in-home security cameras captured a black bear squeezing out of a dryer vent from a house. Not in the house. Bear got in the house. Video captures the bear getting out of the house through a dryer vent. Like,
sorry.
That's quite all right. We go to Florida for the ugly.
Holla, holla, bears in the house. No.
What is? I don't get this reference. Or is it just a shtick?
It's old guy, so-and-so's in the house.
Yeah.
Right. So I was just saying, bears in the house.
I like it.
It's dumb. Just a little punchy, tired.
So we go to Florida for the ugly, where an alligator was caught on film chasing down a golf cart. People in the golf cart, driving the golf cart, alligator trying to
a must for Ole Miss. They're out. They are not in, and most people have them like on the second 4 out. They need a marquee win to probably get on the bubble. 9 o'clock ESPN2. I'm getting Ole Miss in 6.5. Love the points. I might even play the money line tonight.
But there's a couple other games that, well, are close. Tennessee is one of those games tonight. Tennessee is hosting Auburn.
Yeah.
Tennessee's laying 6.5, but Auburn's the ranked team on the road. Do we play it?
If you're going to play it, I would play Tennessee.
Yeah, I would play Tennessee and lay the points. Yeah. Auburn's the 11th ranked Tigers are on the road, but they're laying 6.5.
And Auburn does not have a win over a tournament team on the road.
And I think Tennessee's like 12-1 at home.
13-1.
Oh, yeah. Okay, I was close.
Yeah, very close.
I like the Gators minus 13.5. Missouri's awful.
They are. They're winless in the SEC.
Historically awful.
18th ranked South Carolina at Texas A&M. A&M's laying 5.5.
Think about that. A&M's the favorite at home. South Carolina is in the tournament. A&M is not even bubblicious.
Letdown year for them. They got a good player, Wade Taylor IV. Made a run to the SEC tournament championship game last year. Lost to Alabama. A little bit of a letdown for A&M.
Okay, Creighton lost last time out, right? They had the big win over UConn. Lost. They're at home against Seton Hall tonight. They're laying 8.5. Do you take Creighton to put a beat down on the Pirates?
Yes.
I like it.
So, all right.
I got work to do.
I was going to say, that's a lot of plays for us right there.
Wow.
That's at least a handful, maybe more.
I'll tell you, it's going to be tough for me to not deposit tonight because Hard Rock's running a boost on the Lakers game. LeBron to score 25+, Lakers to win. It's boosted to plus 375.
FGCU, the 2 games in Jacksonville, they're at North Florida tonight. North Florida coming off their worst performance of the year in the last game. They averaged 80 points a game. They scored 50 in losing to their arch rival. This is a tough spot for FGCU tonight. They're getting 3.5. Miller and Moulton.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung specializes in criminal defense, DUI, personal injury, nursing home claims, and auto accidents. I'm a former prosecutor with over 34 years of experience. The information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, time is of the essence to maintain your driving privileges. Call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung for a free consultation. At the law firm of Michael F. Hornung, we are committed to excellence in your representation. Being a local attorney with local knowledge is clutch to the success of your case. For over 30 years, we have successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Our offices are conveniently located in Fort Myers. Visit online at mfh-law.com.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
If you're in love and thinking about a diamond, you'll want to hear from my friends Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
When purchasing a diamond, you deserve a relaxed, stress-free, and educational experience. You want to have a good time and feel comfortable. You want selection, quality, and value.
At the Diamond District, you'll get it all. With our team of non-commissioned diamond advisors, no one's in a rush. We care only about you and making sure your needs and wishes are fulfilled.
You'll be wowed by our selection of GIA certified diamonds, stunning diamond bracelets, earrings, pre-owned Rolex watches, exotic ruby, sapphire, emerald, and tanzanite jewelry. There's something for everyone at the Diamond District, and all at the lowest prices anywhere.
Jason and I love what we do and are in the store nearly every day. We look forward to shaking your hand and welcoming you to our Diamond District family.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
Mark Miller for Molly Maid. Why Molly Maid, you ask? Trust. Moulton was a customer for 15 years. Affordability. Didn't I just say Moulton was a customer for 15 years? Worry-free services. Our professional house cleaners are fully insured and a 24-hour warranty. Call Molly Maids today at 239-774-5839. That's 239-774-5839 or online at mollymaid.com/FTMYERS. That's mollymaid.com.